Hey! Okay. Hello. It really... yeah, it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Eorzea Monthly, where we talk about all things Final Fantasy XIV. There is a lot to cover, but first, I'm here with my beautiful, lovely co-host, Aoi Tsukihime. It's okay. And then I also have my fellow co-host, Tom, from the New York Snark Exchange here as well. Hi! Oh my god, hang on. They can't hear you guys. What the fuck? Oh my god, why is it not working? Hello, can you hear them now?
Check.
Run it
Check
back!
1, 2.
Okay, I think they can hear you guys now. Let me put up a, now get... Okay,
Okay, they can hear us now.
Okay, cool. And then let me get... I'm gonna grab the Fugis as well. That way we can see who's talking when. I realized that might be important.
You're good.
While they're doing that, the topic of today's discussion is going to be the new Ultimate and world racing in general. And for that, we brought along a friend who has some of the most experience in that I know, my good buddy Brian, aka Super Peasant, who was a member of TPS and has multiple world firsts, including the Epic of Alexander and 08S. So you have some experience with Kefka before any of us.
A little bit. Not nearly as much as in the form that he is in now, but, familiar with it.
The world race for this one was definitely, an interesting one. I liked the Fru world race, but this one I think felt a little more fun, a little more entertaining to watch, a little more meta, a definitely better puzzle mechanic than... I guess you would say probably the puzzle mechanic in Fru was just not blowing up the crystal,
what
right?
The fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say that as I'm not a ultimate raider yet, but
yet is the key word.
I'm just like I would say having been watching since the Dragon Song Reprise Ultimate, just watching everyone puzzle it out is just kind of just solve everything is just kind of amazing, and I'm just staring at it how did you guys even come up with that crazy theory? Oh, okay, you know what? I see.
That one in particular was a pain in the ass because people figured out relatively quickly in that it was okay, we have the LB3, we should use the LB3, but the problem was that I think a lot of people used the tank limit break after Harshafant started to fight off the spear, and it had to be cast before that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think
it's right when he appears. It's really weird.
The timing.
I don't really fully understand how we were supposed to glean the timing to be correct, but yeah.
So a lot of people kind of tried tank limit break there, and we're okay, that's not really doing anything for him. We should probably do a healer limit break or a melee limit break to try and get out of the home gang circle thing faster. Also, to get to that point in general, you had to do everything. Nidstinian, eyes, all these really tight DPS checks and mechanic checks to bring the limit break in the first place. And it's okay, now do it before you think you would need to do it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. If you have something to say, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say that it was confusing for us while we were progging through it too. So I didn't really understand the thought process behind what they were doing, but it's fine.
Does it feel like okay? Oh,
Oh,
go ahead, Tom.
Go for it.
Oh, I was gonna ask a question real quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Does it feel like it just becomes muscle memory at that point? Like after you do it so many times?
Like an ultimate,
Like,
or
yeah.
it's like
Just kind of
anything
like-
else. It's like any other raid
Mhm.
content you've ever done. You just muscle memory through parts of it. That especially the first the first phase or two, you kind of just burn through. Then after that, when you get to the more high risk phases where it's easier to wipe or easier to make a mistake that kills everybody, you definitely have to lock in a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Noted. Again, haven't touched an ultimate yet. It is definitely something I want to do, but baby raider, a casual raider, IDK what I call myself.
Maybe for like an anniversary of Eorzea Monthly, we can just drag you into like or something. We'll drag you kicking and screaming.
I'm not kicking and screaming.
I will
Much.
say this, because I know a fair amount of people who like play relatively casually and are like, I could never do an extreme, a savage, an ultimate. You absolutely can. If you have the time to commit to it, it's like when you get hired at a place and they're like, you'll learn this on the job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. You will learn the mechanics as you pull and as you do it. The prep for doing ultimate in general is, can you do your rotation without having to look at your hotbars?
Mm-hmm.
I really think that's like the only preparatory skill a person would realistically need to have.
Yeah, as long as you know your rotation and can like understand mechanics and just keep your GCD rolling, you can do kind of any content.
I actually remember the thing that got me into doing an ultimate in the first place, and of course I think everyone's first ultimate should be Uwu. Like, do not look down on Uwu as like, oh, it's the easiest ultimate. It is still a fucking ultimate. And you like take pride that you can clear something like that. But I actually remember back when I was doing light heavyweight, a group that I was helping were like, I had thought that their team had cleared Uwu and then like were repeatedly wiping to stuff in Honeybee Lovely. So like I said to myself, if I can do Honeybee Lovely and this group can do Uwu, I can do Uwu too. And then cleared it in PF in a week.
Mm-hmm. That's basically how I feel about things as well. Like, it really is just kind of you just kind of have to learn it. It's okay to fuck up.
Mm-hmm. And start small. Extremes are such a good place to start. Mm-hmm. And in next expansion, we'll be getting that like interim difficulty between normal, extreme, and savage. That I'm interested in seeing how they handle that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get moving on into like the meat of our topic really quickly. So for those of the people who are joining us who don't know what World First Racing is, it is essentially World Prog, where I won't say teams, but teams of people will race against the clock not really racing against the clock, but once the content is released, they want to become the first person to do it. Of course, as they say in a certain monster collecting series, I want to be the best, like no one ever was. You want to be the best and the first and the fastest in putting your name up there from what it sounds like. But with Final Fantasy XIV, it doesn't like, there's never really been like a official system, I guess, for world first, but it has been documented, it sounds like, throughout the years since release of who or like what teams have been the first to complete these objectives.
It was, if I remember correctly, I think it was like all the forums for a while were like where you would post clear screenshots or post ideally post group progression, but especially in those first couple like Coil of Bahamut days, it was mostly people saying, hey, I made it to this part in Twin Tanya and the fight's not working anymore. So it was less progress, more bug reports.
That's kind of awesome.
I feel like sorry, you guys are probably more of the experts on like how like this world race. I literally am just like looking back on it as one of the relatively newer players, just like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna sit in front of my computer for like the next 5 to 7 days watching people play this game because why not?
Well, the biggest thing that changed everything, and a ton of other content creators have talked about this in length, if you want like a good history of a lot of like world races in general, Renon's made some good videos on it, Mr. Happy has made some really good retrospective videos, but World Prog for stuff in ARR in the beginning of Heavensward was really rough because cooldowns never reset. So if you have a paladin in your group and they use Hallowed Ground in the opener, you're waiting 7 minutes for Hallowed Ground to come back.
I forgot about that.
That was particularly really bad for Gordius, the fourth floor, because the paladin usually HG'd right away, and so if you wiped to the first leg, you would be waiting probably about 6 minutes for the HG to come back up because you absolutely needed to have it. You can't really go around it because it was part of your strategy and your mitigation was baked into the strategy. So it really sucks that it was like that, but you didn't have a choice. You can't get through without Hallowed Ground.
So if you look at like the length of time, the first couple, like the ARR stuff was like 2 months to take down the first coil, another like month to take down the second coil, almost like 4 or 5 weeks to take down Gordius, and then Alexander Creator, where they made this change, was like 5 days, if that.
Midas went down in like 2 weeks. So, I mean, it did gradually improve. It. And the funny thing is about like Midas is like the group that ended up winning that, which was a Klops group in Elysium, with like Fold and everybody else. They were like busy with WoW and other games, and then when they saw like another team post a screenshot of like the late phase Brute Justice, they're like, oh, we should probably hurry up and finish this. Like, they literally took time off from progression to go play another game, and we're like, oh, there's another group that's close to us. We should probably go ahead and finish this up, actually. And then just asked everybody to take a little bit more time, and they did. That was just how it was back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of like, super intense competition.
They also got significantly better about gear gating the fights, because like that was like the crux of Manipulator of A4S was just, like the fight was so gear gated when they made it to it.
3 also was the fight before that with Living Liquid. Yeah, it was just a really big gear check. 4 was a heavy gear check. You would just have people drop dead. You would also fail killing the leg in time, which would just wipe you, which really sucks. It would just catch up to you, and that would be the end of that. It's really unfortunate.
Like, I think they hit the first Enrage at like Manipulator having something like over 60% health when they hit the first Enrage, and they're like, how the fuck are we supposed to do that?
Yeah, they also just didn't get a lot of attempts in either, because again, the cooldown reset function had not been put into the game yet. So you die and all your stuff is still on CD, so you have to wait an eternity to get it back.
I think the interesting thing, especially if we're talking about world racing for Savage versus Ultimate, and this is something that like I remember talking with Aoi about this like as the race was going on. Savage racing is a sprint, Ultimate racing is a marathon. Because
Yep.
like there's the famous story of light heavyweight being the world first and the world second were 21 seconds apart. Which is crazy. Like that those were that close. But
Yeah.
when you go into Savage, you are literally just, if you're not pulling, you're trolling. You want to be pulling like and in the fight and actively doing stuff as much as you can, while like usually a ninth man or the more astute members of your team are like looking at debuffs, checking things, and coming up with ideas as the pull is happening. With Ultimate, that really works for maybe the first day, the first like phase or two. But I bring this up because one of the groups we're going to talk about today, Poikos, took their time in between phase 3 and phase 4 pulls to really like go over strategies, look at debuffs, talk about it. Once they had P1 and P2 on lock, like there was a lot of time spent discussing, and I actually think that gave them an edge towards the later half of the fight.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I completely agree.
Like, I was, thank God, JP time, but I was like watching Poikos pretty religiously. I think by the end of the week,
I think after a certain point, everyone was.
Yeah. But like the time that they would take to just stop and talk. They went into the Omega raid as well and just kind of killed it and just like placed themselves too. It was a lot of prep that went into them reaching Prague and then being like, okay, what happened here? And I guess they had to have been poring over footage because they had their ninth, and I think they had a couple other people there as well observing to help them. So the entire team consisted of like 10-ish people, I want to say.
I think around 10 or 11, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't keeping track of the numbers.
Some groups had like I think as much as like 12 people, which is
yeah.
that's
I'm pretty sure Banana Codex had like 12, but I don't remember.
There's other groups that had more than that.
Really?
I just remember.
Yeah, later. No, I was just gonna say when we talk about the other groups later, I'll mention that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
like just off the top of my head, there were groups with like 14 people, each of them doing something different. Something with could be with macros, then a cross-world link shell that would be giving you specific information, which is really important. There's all kinds of other like ways you can use ninth men to give yourself like a big advantage over the fights that you're doing, especially in DMU where macros are so powerful.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Where Top taught you how to use your party list in a way that would help you solve full random mechanics, DMU taught you, or at least really pushes you and encourages you to use macros to remember things, to orient yourself, to kind of even solve mechanics for you in some stages of the fight. So it's really, really helpful.
The one thing with DMU in particular, and I'm always a sucker. I always like when a fight teaches you something for the next fight upcoming. Like I like when a door boss has something that will help you in the second phase of the fight. And really one thing that I never used until M12S that came in real handy to know how to use in DMU are echo macros. Those are macros that only you see. So if you, for example, were doing Idyllic Dream and you wanted to remind yourself that your first defamation on the east side, you push a button and it'll pop up just to you saying, you're not clouding the party list with solutions to your mechanics, but you now have a chat bar that has these stuff written on them. And if you can do those reliably for phase 4, which is just debuff, 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 all that have the potential to be fake debuff, you're playing like you're taking this short-term memory game that Idyllic Dream really built you up towards to like remember something and then use it 4 minutes later. Pretty much all of P4 is how well can you remember all the debuffs on your bar and which ones are fake and which ones are real. And sometimes you have to deal with a fake debuff and a fake solution, so you now actually have to do the mechanic properly after all.
There's ways to simplify it too. It's really interesting when we end up discussing that. It's honestly, there's other groups that came up with simplifications for some of the stuff in phase 4 that make it really, really easy to think about. Also, you don't have to do that phase yourself. There's like a lot of ways to divvy up responsibilities, such as having someone doing the lightnings, like keeping track of the Kefka lightnings, letting you know where like the last safe spot is at the end when he casts the double line, and then he uses his expel magic or whatever, his stored magic, and and then there's also like for the fake casts for lightning and water, you can have someone keeping track of that. If it's fake, fake Excel bomb, they make a call. There's a really good POV from Alex Flair. He's the melee player for Party Finder. You can literally hear him talk to himself in the VOD because he didn't mute his microphone in the recording, which is really actually helpful for players who are looking to get into world progression. You can hear him sound everything out to himself. You can hear him remind himself that he is motion. You can hear him remind himself that, like, what color am I going to when I'm solving, and you can hear Robin, Tiamat Pendragon, you can hear him, calling out, fake, like acceleration bomb is stillness or acceleration bomb is motion. And if you get the acceleration bomb, you hit the macro that says, you need to move when this is when your debuff is counting down. In addition to that, you can also have someone mark the people who get the lightnings. So, for example, let's say it's real. So, NeoXF is casting a real cast. It means that the lightnings are going to be the people who have to spread out, because that's how it is in Savage, right? If it's his original cast, the lightnings are the people who spread in the water, the people who stack. So you're looking at marking your people who have to split from your group. So you mark your lightnings with either, if they're the first people to blow up, there'll be a shorter timer. If it comes out first, they're like the 51-second timer. And if it comes out first and it's over a minute timer, that those people are second. So you'll mark those people as the second group, and so on and so forth. If it's fake cast, you do it the other way. You're looking at the waters, because the waters are the ones who are going to be, and if everyone had to think about that, it'd be terrible, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have one person paying attention to that and then marking the people, all everyone else has to do is just look at their own thing. They look at, am I marked? No, then I don't do the mechanic and you just go to your stack spot, right? So this is ways to divvy up responsibility. And then, you can have someone look at, chaos and look at the fire and the water and, remember if that's fake or real. And, regardless, you have to stack up for that anyway. And then they just tell you if it's donut or a twister, and you have to move.
We're kind of getting that right now with Forsaken, where we have one person who's literally all they do in VC is just call out Tower 1, Tower 2, Tower 3. That helps.
Yeah, and when you divvy up responsibility in P4, prog goes a lot faster than if you're just trusting everyone to do the mechanic themselves. It's just an unfair expectation when people are playing different jobs with different responsibilities, like healers who are busy trying to keep track of everything, keep your keep your guys mitigated, because the damage there it's painful. It's really painful. Mitigation very thin, especially in that last cast that he does that assigns you your color. There's like no mitt left. So
Won't
it's
the
tough.
autos in P4 or P5 do like 400k unmitigated?
The auto attacks are, there's only 2 sets. There's 4 total sets of autos. He hits you with 3 of them, then 2 of them in the middle where you have kind of like, you should have your own short mitt as tanks. You have another 2 autos after Ultima Repeater, so you have carryover mitt there. And then for the last set, it's 3 autos. That's where you need to get creative and you need to pay attention to your invulns. The auto attacks for the party, because it hits everybody, right? Each auto, you're in rolls. So the people who are like DPS and healers, as long as you're topped, it's like fine. But the tanks do take a lot of damage there, and yeah, they depending on how your tank set up. Like if you're not Paladin Dark Knight, it's gonna be scary. Doesn't mean it's impossible or anything close to that, but it's gonna be a little tight,
dicey.
Yeah, so it's helpful, that's why the MIP plans are so important. You have to follow your MIP plan there, even as the tanks, like in the minutia of things, when you're like, okay, invuln for this. So maddening orchestra, right? Everyone has to be spread, right? And then if you didn't get hit, you walk in to get the second set, and then you run south so you don't get hit by the tanks blowing up. It's where everyone's kind of spread in a protean, if you remember that from Prague.
Yeah.
What the tanks are doing there is the tanks stay separate. When Maddening Orchestra cast goes off, the person who has aggro gets 1 buff, and the person who's second in aggro, the other tank, gets another buff. And then both tanks need to stack up to take the second hit there. And then there needs to be a Voke and a Shirk, because the tank that gets the flare needs to back up towards the north side of the room so that when it goes off, it doesn't kill everyone in the room. And the tank that's standing, how you resolve this normally is like, I'm not 100% sure, but every group that I've ever seen has the tank that's shirking run out to the north to keep the flare far away from the party. And the tank that's standing and taking the blue pillar, the blue cylinder of damage, they're usually invulnerable.
Yeah.
And especially with the last one, right before for the final Forsaken runaround, timing your invuln there is super important, because you can actually soak 2 of the autos with the invuln carryover. So yeah, mitigation, super important. The autos hurt a lot, and even just 1 extra auto there at the end can wipe you, because your tanks just don't have enough mitigation carrying over. Because you need to have mitigation for the actual cast of the Maddening Orchestra on tank. And then you still need mitigation for the 3 autos after. And so it's like a
P8S where the stack autos and using your invuln to to take auto solo really makes a difference.
It's a great example. Yeah, it's like the first thing I thought of. It's like one of the most prominent examples. That, and obviously DSR with the autos there.
Oh, I love the autos in DSR.
Yeah, ouch. They're painful, but yeah, even just that 1 less auto, 400,000. They really do hurt, and the healers they have to top the party. They don't have time or mana or presence of mind. You're shaking. Your first time getting there, people are gonna have nerves. They're gonna see you get low. They're gonna panic heal you, and then the party is still low, and then the last auto comes out and people die. And then right after that, it's the Forsaken hits. So you have people die. They could be important. They could have important mitigation they can't use because they're dead. It just snowballs out of control from there, and then you're just kind of cooked, right? So it's really helpful.
I imagine a missed addle. A missed addle is probably a death sentence.
Oh my god!
I mean, even just a mistimed addle, for example, for the Forsaken, I used Reprisal before halfway through the cast, and so it lasted for the Forsaken, and then the Forsaken, the Echo Forsaken, the little the circle stack that you take. But it fell off 1 second before, because every single time after the stack, he throws his staff back in the air and it hits you again. It hits you again with Forsaken, and it fell off 1 second before that. Our shield healer couldn't get the shields up in time, but we would have lived if my reprisal had lasted just that extra second. So, like, you know, obviously it wasn't completely on that, but, you know, it still sucks that we wiped because of something like that, right? So it's mitigation timing is super important. Not just using it, but using it at the right moment really makes a huge difference. And you need to understand like when you can get more out of your mitigation. That's why it's always good to like, be checking your logs, looking at footage, things like that. So.
Speaking of logs and footage, the world races have sort of become more than what we talked about before regarding everything being on the forums and it sort of being more of a gentleman's agreement to these massive live stream charity events. How have you kind of felt as sort of like a raider watching this change? If you don't mind my asking.
So the problem with any kind of program that's going to give you an advantage is that they've existed for an extremely long period of time, and it's been an arms race since they came into the general kind of consciousness. Starting from Creator, ACT was always around. There were tools in A Realm Reborn that would give you, like, if I clicked on your character, it would give me, like, the distance of yalms that you are from me. There's a plugin from, 10, 11 years ago that would tell me how far away you are from me, and that's really important information. If I know how far away you are from me, I know how far I can stand from you, because if you data mine, you can find all kinds of crazy information. You can see how big AoEs are. Like if this AoE's 9 yalms, 5 yalms, you know, or like you get very specific values, and then if you internalize how big those are, or you have a program that tells you how big, or like tells you how far away you are from somebody, you know you're safe and you don't have to think about it, which is cheating, right? That's if you don't have to think about something that otherwise would kill you, and it's an advantage of something that someone else is not going to have, that is definitely something that, you know, would be, most people would consider cheating. But it depends on the accessibility. It depends on how many people are running it. It depends, like in my personal opinion, how accessible is something like this. So for example, you know, Alexander, or, you know, no Clippy, or, you know, whatever ping reduction tool you're using. That's just quality of life, right? Like everybody runs that. But if you don't tell people about that, how do they find out? Well, they don't, right? They don't know. They just notice that the game's kind of unresponsive. Like someone has to be like, hey, you should really use Alexander. Right? So really, the biggest issue with programs and things that people are using to give themselves, to make, you know, rating easier or prog more accessible for themselves, the biggest issue is Square Enix not getting involved. In my personal opinion, the fact that they've never kind of stepped in to say, you know, to basically like condone the race to begin with, they kind of quietly acknowledge it, but they've never stepped in and say, hey, this is our big event for the race, that you know, submit your team's application here, kind of what Frosty is doing with Mob Talk. The world race, you know, the Frosty Mog world race and things like that, you know. Really, that's what Square Enix should be doing, or SE should be doing that. I mean, it's
100%.
It's kind of a, and the fact that they haven't done that is what is the core of what led things to get to how they are now. Where you could stream, they have no idea if you're cheating. Like you can stream your progression. They could be using Splatoon. You have no, you know, really like things that telegraph everything about what's going on around you. You have no idea. It's easy to separate that stuff now. You can separate out audio, so that your ACT callouts that are telling you what to do, you can get really advanced with some of those.
Exist.
And you can separate that out. You can cut that out so people don't even know you're using that. You know, that's like, and you know, people would. I remember when you know, people would have that on stream. You could hear like the ACT callouts, and people get flamed for that all the time. The time. Even though in my personal opinion, it's like, everyone's doing that. At least they used to. That everyone was doing that. So it's like, do you really flame them? Is that really something that's necessary? So,
well, especially because it feels for a while like I'm an NA player, but I know that the JP community, like, mods are a little more verboten there. They don't really they're not talked about as much. Meanwhile, in North America, we fucking can't stop talking. We can't stop talking about Fight Club.
Well, oh good.
that was kind of the. Funnily enough, that's the origin of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was just thinking, it's just like, yeah, like in the JP community, it's mostly like if you use anything of the sort, you are hush hush about it. You are tight-lipped, and you are slipping it under the table. Sorry, JP fandom, I shouldn't be outing you this way, but I am. Because I know for a fact, players do know, like Japanese players do know about mods. They know what's there.
I know JP players who actively use them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the top debacle where, like, the world JP, initially claimed the world first, and then the person showed the video of them using tons of mods, and like they were forced to throw their weapons in the garbage.
Yeah, they were told by SE to do that. The thing is, like, it's even just like even just normal mods, like a lot of JP players don't really, they're very hush hush about that. I think, is that what you were referring to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even just like mods for your character, maybe there's a piece of clothing that has something really annoying on it, and you can mod that right off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and people would
Blender is a beautiful
screenshots
thing
of it all the time. Yeah.
Well, even stuff like we were talking about no clipping and whatnot, I think that is like a mod that should be implemented in the game in general, because at that point, it's like, if you have a team, if you want to talk about having an advantage or whatever, if you have a team that has 7 people in NA and 1 person in
Europe,
New Zealand, Australia, Europe, any other part where we have we got someone in our UCOP group who Frog is from Australia, and his ping is 300. So every time he does something, he has to be ahead of it, and it's okay, would you say that this group has a disadvantage over a group that's all in California, all right next to the server, 20 MS ping?
Yeah.
By kind of having something like no clippy, it's okay, now everyone can be at the same ping level, everyone can be at the same base point for that.
Yeah, I mean, from that point, JP has a pretty massive advantage if you don't use that stuff. I mean, that's not really their fault, right? They just live there. It's not something you can't tell them to take responsibility or something for that.
Japan has a much smaller square mileage in terms of country size than a place like America.
Yeah,
unfortunately, yeah.
And that also
just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Continent. But yeah, it's I don't know, this all kind of takes me back when so long ago, playing League of Legends, different game completely, but Riot built their own network for the game to run a lot smoother for the players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the amount of processes that they had to go through to set that up, and just imagining it for Square, and I'm just no, Square can't do this.
I hope
Square cannot wrap their mind around doing something like this.
The Square Enix mind cannot wrap their head around building a network that works for their players.
I'm so excited for it, but I know when that cross data center party finder opens up, everything's going to be on fire for 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's how the ARM war can cause DDoSes somehow and take down an entire server.
Yep.
Genuinely, that thing has to be spaghetti. The ARM war has to be load bearing code.
Yeah.
I will say though, to give them credit, there were almost no like DDoS issues or like the server stayed pretty fucking compared to Fru at least. Fru had DDoSes for like the first 4 fucking days of that fight.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
pretty stable.
That was one of the big things that I noticed. I was like, no one's getting 90K'd for no reason.
I was like, when I went in day 1, I was fully expecting to like, okay, we're probably going to lose half our pulls to like DDoS or like, we had no issues. We like, I think it hiccuped 2 times in the first 3 days of Prague, which gotta give them credit for that. That was impressive.
Everyone was too fascinated by Kefka. That's why.
True.
There was a ton of other jank in the fight, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, but driving it back a little bit, yeah, like with Square Enix never officially recognizing like world first or like taking any control over it and just leaving it to the fans. It's just kind of been very wild west, I feel.
It's kind of upsetting.
Yeah, I feel like they want to have their cake and eat it too kind of situation where it's like they want to have this attention being brought to their game, but they don't want to take the steps needed to make it official and make it like,
especially because someone's already doing it for them.
Oh, that's the thing. It's like if someone's already doing it for you, then why step in?
I also see the, you know, with someone with like 1 foot somewhat in the corporate world, I also see the litany of shit that opens them to now if they actually decide to make something like, you know,
but I mean,
the
like,
Mog Talk official.
But I mean, like, they can that's talk about it.
Yeah, but that's exactly like, it's not like something they should not shy away from that. In my opinion, they should. I mean, they never will at this point, but you know, they should have been hands-on with it. Yeah, it takes effort.
Oh yeah,
it takes effort to host an event. Yeah, it's going to be hard. You got to figure it out. I mean, because this all started at like the end of Heaven's Ward when people were trying to figure out mods, like the backbone of the mods that most people use today to like mod their character, mod their screenshots, you know, make their character super pretty and get the imports from other games. You know, people restructure outfits from other games. That entire structure began with someone from, I believe it was EU, trying to figure out, dig into the game's code to, you know, alter items to be other things. Like that was not a thing in like 2016, 17 when they were trying to figure that out. And that is the origin for most of the plugins that people use to make the game easier. Like that, like the entire modding your character just to be like cuter or to have like a different outfit basically was the that was like the genesis for these really game-breaking mods to come into the game and like plugins to come into the game that really change things.
Yeah.
Things like, you know, things like Paisley Park that can move markers in the middle of a fight. You know, a lot of us took that for granted. Like I'm like in the T race, like it was a big controversy.
Oh
with,
yeah,
we used it. TPS used it. We used it, but the thing is, we had a conversation about it and I was like, do we use this? And like we looked at like the biggest streamers at the time, you know, it was like there's like Mr. Happy's group. Mr. Happy himself was not using this mod, but his group was very clearly using it in their practice and was like, okay, well, they're doing it, you know, and like looking at Xeno's streams, someone in Xeno's group is also they're moving all the markers at the same time. I was like, well, they're using it and they have like 1,000 viewers. No one's saying anything. Like, maybe it's fine. So, you know, we just went ahead and used it. No one really cared at the time. But when JP saw that, they saw that you were moving the markers. They're like, what is going on here? You know, and Paisley Park had 5 presets. You save one set for, you know, the first phase, the second phase, the third phase, and so on and so forth. And you could just move them around. You could click on them. And it also had other, I believe, I didn't use, I don't know, but I think it had other stuff in there, and that's like the biggest thing people were scared of. I think it had like, I don't know what it had, honestly. I think it might have had like a speed hack or something. I don't know if it did or not, but there was something in there that you could use, but you could dig that out of a log pretty easily. So like you would see if someone was speed hacking because it's reflected in the log, right? And like in your footage too. If you record yourself, you're gonna see it pretty prominently like displayed.
Yeah, there's not really a way to hide that part.
No, so no one who is going to use that program is ever going to do that, especially if they're racing. Like the biggest thing they would do is move the markers around. And that for us, people were, this till to this day pretty divided on, there's people, a lot of world first racers will say, well, that really didn't, you won by like 3 days, it doesn't really matter. But it's like at the same time, it's like the principle of it as well. But that's this whole conversation around modding and things like that, especially in the world race, is like, again, a byproduct of the fact that SC never went hands on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because how do you police people playing from home? Like, can you
Yeah.
inspect their client? Do you get de novo?
Yeah, and that
get invasive
DRM, yeah.
third party DRM.
and that
into
is a
your
thing
game
that
just to-
Yoshi P had even said in his news post regarding mod usage, when they were like, yeah, we don't really care all too much about cosmetic mods. We care about the ones that affect gameplay and that mess with the cash shop, because that is how we fund our servers.
Yeah.
Where he was like, don't ask, don't tell. I can't condone it, but I'm not gonna stop you by putting invasive DRM on your computer because I don't want to do that.
It's basically him looking at the camera going, please, make us have to work to find out about it. Don't just fucking post it.
Yeah.
Please.
And
just
now
don't fucking post it.
people have taken that as, oh, you can like show like cosmetic mods and stuff on stream and Square Enix won't get you. Which, for the most part,
Not
they
technically
haven't.
true.
Yeah, not technically true, but also for the most part, they haven't really been doing it.
It's a you're not wrong, but you're not right situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like I said, it's just a
Yeah.
very please, don't
Please don't make me have to do
make
my job.
me have to work to find out about it. If we got like 20 people messaging us saying, hey, Xenos just took his dick out on, in modded on stream, now we have to do something about
Aw. I don't want to talk about the current
that.
FF14
This is not a
social
14
media
drama
circle thing.
podcast.
But anyways, we're gonna move on. So yeah, Brian, how do you find team members for like particularly for a world first race? Like I can imagine that in the past it was mostly through maybe like the forums, but nowadays, how do you go around finding people for this?
Well, for years, it was mostly word of mouth. I think it's still like that. I think early on, it would be through recommendations from other people that you meet. Obviously, the forums and pledging to be hardcore. You'd have these really complicated application processes. You swear that you play the game like it's your life. There's one very famous recruitment post where the person said if they didn't have to eat or drink or sleep, they would play 14 24/7.
I do remember
Those
that.
of you who know who that is, I'm not saying their name, but that was from like Heaven's Ward.
Oh
No.
no.
But
That's such a
the
good post. I think
easiest-
about it on the daily.
it's very old. But I'm aging, unfortunately.
I've
But-
never seen this.
If you ask really prominent groups now, they would tell you something similar, though they do have these very intense, depending on the group you're applying for, they do have like some very intense or like a recruitment kind of processes. For example, DN, they have a very interesting way of recruiting people. I trialed for DN for fun. There's no way I was going to make the trial. I'm super washed, but I wanted to see their process. And our Taffernese, the leader of DN, was basically like, after the trial, I was like, I think I understand how you're trialing people. He's like, no, you don't. And I was like, okay, but I think I do. The way that they do it is they have progression strategies that they came up with. It was like a possible solution for a mechanic that absolutely 100% is now solved. And you need to be able to go into that mechanic with their progression strategy that has like several different things you may need to look at in order to, first of all, get to the right position based on what you have, and then execute the mechanic correctly. And you have to completely shift the way that you approach mechanics in order to understand and successfully solve using their process and their theoretical solution. And they do this to filter out people who can't adapt quickly, who can't conceptualize things and basically spin the apple in their head, so to speak. You can spin the apple in your mind. Can you visualize the mechanic doing this? How many times do you need to see this to get it? This is true for a lot of role progression groups, but yeah, like that is how they would trial their players. They hand you these strategies. There's a lot of them. You need to get them down, and they give you they only give you like a day or two. They're like, see you tomorrow, and hope you can do it. And if you can't, they grade you.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're not on their wavelength,
yes,
that's it.
That is
right.
That's because I think that's more than anything key to racing. It's interesting because like I know a lot of people who are like, and I am in this boat. I think I'm a pretty competent player. I think I can learn stuff pretty quick and adapt and go through it. I do not know if I have it in me to be a world first racer just because I do not absorb information. It's almost like reading a book in a different language that the language, you just aren't like that good at it. So you're almost kind of like relearning something you already know. You kind of gotta different skill sets that don't normally come up. Like I could look at a guide for M12S and learn that fight in a day or two.
Yeah.
If I have people who are able to do the fight competently. But if you were to put me in that fight knowing nothing and say solve it, it probably would have taken me 4 times as long as any like world first racers, because seeing the puzzle pieces scrambled up doesn't make my brain connect, okay, these ones go here or do this way. It's an entire different skill set. But also it allows, I think, some people to show different skill sets that can like be applied in different ways that you might not get otherwise. I've always kind of talked about warriors and samurai, the changes to guaranteed crit direct hits.
Yeah.
That consistency in damage from a support or a DPS can sometimes be really crucial in figuring out what can you carry over into the next phase, what can you save in your current phase, what do you need to change damage wise. If you don't have to worry about variability in crit from like a Gunbreaker Dark Knight comp, let's say.
Yeah, but there's a lot to absorb from all of like looking at those strategies. But to answer your question, how do you recruit for this? How do you find a group for this? Nowadays, relevant information here, it's primarily through word of mouth, which then says, hey, does anyone know this guy? Does this guy have anything interesting here? Does anyone recognize this person? It's like, oh yeah, I PF'd with that guy. He's pretty good. We should trial him, and then that gets your foot in the door to where you can trial. Or if you already know people, there's some groups that will just pick people up because they know they're good. Like trialing is very exhausting. Trialing for people, it takes hours out of your day, 3 hours to do a trial. It's exhausting. People, sometimes their time is wasted. Sorry, Deanne, didn't mean to waste your time there. But like, their time is wasted. And so it can be very frustrating to try to recruit, people for an ultimate or even just prog in general. But really, if you want to get your foot in the door, the best thing you can do is PF. PF a lot. PF, and don't be afraid of people getting upset at you. These people, everyone thinks, especially now, everyone thinks they have this game figured out. It doesn't matter how good they are, how bad they are. No matter who you talk to, they're going to be like, yeah, I know a lot about that. And a lot of people who raid think that they know everything that it takes. Oh, these guys, they'll call people cheaters who aren't cheaters. They'll say that, they think that this content is super difficult. It's actually pretty approachable, things like that. You can't trust what people are saying. Just get yourself into PF, suffer, or maybe just have fun, play something you enjoy, stick to a couple jobs, and, you will find people who are looking to recruit other people, and they're like, hey, I played with that guy, he's really good, never made mistakes, didn't make very many mistakes, he took on responsibilities, he marked people for this mechanic, he did the macros for this mechanic, he was really consistent. I think we should take this guy, and that's kind of how it works.
The most annoying, like, as someone who's like, I looked in some things, and also other ways you can like potentially look for stuff is there are some big discords right now. North American Ultimate Rating has like a channel for, hey, I'm a monk player, I want to do, I'm looking for a static. There's like good, like, post basically your resume, post your tombstone. Some groups, I've seen some groups put stuff like this in, and this part does kind of annoy me a little bit. There are some groups that are like, if you didn't prog an ultimate on content, or you didn't prog Savage on content, like, you won't be considered. There were literally some groups that were like, if you haven't done top on month 1 prog or DSR on month 1 prog, don't apply.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a pretty heavy exclusion there. I think generally it's difficult for people to kind of vet. And again, it's about, your time being wasted. A lot of people are afraid of like, setting up a raid night with a trial. And there's no worse feeling than like getting like an hour into it and being like, this guy is just not what we're looking for. This person's not what we're looking for. We need to we're not going to take this person, so we just kind of wasted our time, and then we have to like look at what else you have left. It can be frustrating, I understand. But yeah, like, you definitely should set expectations fairly well. Like, if you're the person recruiting, it can be really difficult. You should not do that all by yourself. You should maybe get some help, get some insight, or get some more eyes on people. It's really helpful. So
the worst raid leads are going to be the people who only look at damage number. Because DPS is important. Consistency in DPS is going to be really important for, I think it's more important for like Savage, week 1 Savage, because you're going in with gear locking, like, it's going to be a little gear gated because you're going to be in, pentamelded, crafted with maybe 1 or 2 pieces. So that DPS check, which is going to be easier later on, is going to be a little tighter there. But if you were to look at my logs, I give like a couple of purples on Savage, but every ultimate I have is green or blue, because I am the kind of player who will happily sacrifice my damage, lose a GCD to make sure a mechanic is done properly, or try and adjust for someone, or like clear over color.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, you kind of need people, you especially, I think, if you're playing a support, you need a healer who is going to prioritize casting succor in extra time versus 1 broil.
Yeah.
One thing
the thing is
oh, sorry.
Very good.
Go ahead. Especially with that is something that I was going back through, because I've been reprogging Uwu with some friends, because a friend of mine really wants to clear. And I've done the fight on multiple roles. I've done it on Fizz range, I've done it on healer. So when it comes to sort of like earlier parts in the fight where it's like, oh, this person's down, I know how to do the part of the mechanic that needs to be done. And I can just sort of like fill in for that section. Like, if I'm not the healer who gets like the searing during Ifrit phase, and I know that the Fizz range is down, I can go to where the Fizz range is supposed to be and just do the nails mechanic before going back while I'm casting Cure 3, while I'm just slide casting Cure 3. Like, there are things that you end up having to learn, especially through PF, where you have to kind of like cover for other people's mistakes, that I think you won't really get in another situation.
I think one of the best things, like if you want to be tanking, proc stuff, the good tanks know when to do a good LB2. Because a tank LB2 can sometimes push you just ahead to see another mechanic, see one more thing, get a little bit further. And that was something I had to learn the more and more harder content that I did, because otherwise I would never... I think I touched the LB3 bar on tanks unless it was like a required thing, maybe like a handful of times. And it's like, no, this is a seriously powerful prog tool
Oh, 100%.
that like a whole lot of people aren't using.
Yeah, damage is important, but it's like the first fundamental part of being like a world progression player. Like the damage should just be there. It should be like always there. Like you should understand your class to the point where the damage just comes automatically. It's not something that like you have to think about. It's not something that like outside of maybe timing some buffs and like checking where you're using things, making sure you're getting your uses and not losing usages. That should just be there. It's like the first building block to becoming a world progression raider. Like being a world progression raider is about understanding what makes you consistent, improving your conceptualization of mechanics, which is really hard to do. You can't teach someone how to do that. That's something they have to figure out for themselves, because it's a very by person basis. There are bad strats, make no mistake, and that's like kind of what you showcase in things like Forsaken, where like there's just bad like strats that require you to be pixel perfect. And if you're really good, yeah, you can execute that really consistently, but like it's just a bad strategy. So when you get tired and you're not exactly pixel perfect, or you don't notice, you didn't rotate as far as you're supposed to, having a double cone strat or having a 90-degree cone strat, the 90-degree cones, like where you have the cones perfectly up against the boss, like at like all the way in the hitbox, basically perfectly on that edge inside the hitbox. Those cones can shoot each other. I'm sure you guys saw that strategy where like the where the cones were basically up in the circle in the boss's hitbox, right at the front of the circle, the tower circle. And they were supposed to shoot back at the 90-degree angle person who's like standing 90 degrees to your back left or back right, depending on which tower you're in, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that doesn't work like consistently enough. It worked for a lot of groups, but if you're off just a little bit, the cones can shoot each other. The one cone can fire one way. It's all kinds of weird, just unfortunate things because people aren't being precise, right? So that's why like the DN strat where they're shifted, where you shift everyone over, pull the cones away from each other. And then if you're a circle, you put the middle of the tower between yourself and the cone, and then you just have the person on the outside who's baiting. Especially if you're using the diamond markers, it just makes everything a lot easier. Yeah. And it's just, that's one example of like just a bad strat where, it's basically, if you're a really good world progression player, yeah, you can make a bad strat work. Versus like if you're playing with like, just a friend group who wants to get through it, it can take a lot longer because people just aren't precise. And so you just die to Forsaken 100 times as you either wait for a better strat or you wait for people to kind of get it.
I've heard of groups who have actually banned long dress glams for people who consistently have trouble with Forsaken, because some of the like positioning is so tight in that mechanic that if you can't see like between your legs, you might kill people.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't
so
heard anything
funny.
like that. That is funny though. That is really funny. The thing is, like, I don't like. Why would you? If it's bad for you, that's one thing. Like, you can't tell someone else. Like, if someone else is not having a problem with it, like, why would you give a shit if they're?
Yeah.
I think in this case, like specifically, like their healer kept like not standing in the right spot during.
Well, yeah, then
they're
that's like
okay.
finally. Why don't you try not using a long skirt and like maybe getting your position down a little bit better?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
Still a little funny.
It's one of the things that I want to talk about a little bit later down on the list, but continuing on, like, how does it feel to like be asking for time off for a world race or like to do this?
Yeah.
Like
To know.
like scheduling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, you don't have to tell your boss why you're
That
taking
is
off.
true.
You just take like I'm just taking a vacation. Like obviously, like my
Yeah.
like I don't know about other people, but my parents know that I do this. Like my during COVID when we were progging tea, I had to house sit for someone who was stuck in New York City because they had to take care of, obviously they were down there taking care of their grandkids. It was like a friend of the family.
Mm-hmm.
They're down there taking care of their grandkids, and COVID, obviously, the lockdown began,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, oh, I'm stuck down here. Can you house sit for us? Because there's no one there, and no one can be there for months.
Yeah.
And going there, like they knew about it.
Yeah.
Because when he came back, and we were progressing. This is pretty far into the lockdown, but we were progressing Eden's Gate. Eden's Promise, the last tier E12S.
The last one.
When we were world progging that, like when we finished that tier, I was yelling and like screaming at like 2 a.m, and he was downstairs drinking, and he comes up and he's like, "Did you win?" Literally into my room, he's like, "Are you winning?" And I was like, "Yeah, we won."
I can't believe you were the origin of the "Are you winning" son meme.
No, but it was just funny because it was just like he comes up, he's like, "I guess you won, huh?" And I was like, "Yep, we won." And he gave me a beer. I was like, "Hell yeah!"
That's awesome. I remember.
Crazy.
I remember when I was stuck in New York City during the COVID lockdown. That's when I was first progging Uwu. And
Yeah.
I started to really like learn everything and stuff like that. And my mom and we were in a 2-bedroom apartment. I shared a room with my sister, and my mom took the other room. So what I did was I put my laptop on the kitchen table in the main room of the apartment. And so when my mom would walk in from like taking a walk or like getting groceries or something, she would sometimes look and see like End Singer and stuff like that, and she'd sit there and she'd just kind of watch for a couple of seconds, and she's like, "So what's the importance of this?" And I got to basically info dump to her about the reasoning of the fight.
Yeah.
And she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so you're just fighting the
Oh my
concept
gosh.
of apathy." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Huh, poignant." And she just went on with the rest of her day.
That's so funny. That's so funny that she cared enough to engage with
get
it. That's
that.
kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only employer I think I ever told was one of my other supervisors, like a long time ago. Actually, ironically, was for when Uwu came out. I was like, I'm taking time off to world prog this thing, and he's like, "You have to take time off for it." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So you're just gonna play a video game all day?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." He's like, "Is that even fun?" I was like, "Sometimes it's fun. Most of the time, like it's stressful. Like it's legitimately
Yeah.
stressful. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst part. It's like you take quote unquote vacation to do this, and it's sometimes.
It's
I
not
mean,
fun.
at least for me, it's not fun. It's exhausting. It's rewarding, and it can be really fun at times. Like really, it can be like truly. And there's no other feeling like it in this game, and it's an experience that you can only get from like really trying to push yourself. But a lot of times it's frustrating. At least for me, I'm someone who's easily I get easily agitated sometimes, and I get mad at myself for making mistakes. Someone makes the same mistake twice, and it's like, dude, come on, like that kind of thing. You're like a little frustrated, but it's especially in like a world prog setting, like you cannot let that happen. And yeah, like, but anyway, from an employer perspective, like you're just taking vacation.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, my
can't
dad-
imagine.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry,
It's kind
so-
of funny
oh.
because I remember when I forget what race was coming up. I think it might have been light heavyweight.
Yeah.
No, it was one earlier than that. It was. I remember, Brian, you came to me because I do a lot of like meal prep and stuff for like weight loss and whatnot. And you're like, "Can you give me a couple of recipes so that I can like cook like a week and a half's worth of meals ahead of time, so I don't have to worry about like having
Stuff
just
going
eat
bad.
fast food during an entire week?"
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, it's because I had to change my diet, and I was like looking at things. I was like, dude, this could go on for a really long time. I need something that might be not crap that needs to last. What can I get?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's not
Because
much.
it-
My,
Go for it.
go ahead, Tom.
Go for it. Oh no, go for it.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say because like one of the reasons why I brought this up was because Poikos eventually like they could not by the clock anymore. They had to go into work the next day, and basically that's where their raid progression ended. And I think for a lot of like I was having to answer a lot of questions from NA where it's just like what's happening with Poikos, and it's just like, well, they can't continue because they took 3 days off to do this, and that's about the most you can take here in Japan without being an actual inconvenience to the others in your job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like,
Oh yeah.
how
because
like
for
what like on
JP,
what's the
patches are
other?
at 7 p.m.
Yeah, they got in as ASAP. But yeah, I was just kind of wondering like how does NA like most NA players take to this, because I understand the Japanese side for it. And for them to have to like basically be like, we got to pull out because we got to get some rest.
There's
It was-
For ultimates, most people take like a week, right?
Yeah.
They're usually about
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
week off.
There's no question that there's definitely like a lot of privilege amongst people who world prog. It wasn't always like that, but if you ask now, like most people who world prog, if you ask what they do for a career, like they're not in any kind of precarious situation. They're either they're devs, they're programmers, they work a job that allows them to they're freelancers a lot of the time, or they just have an unbelievable amount of vacation time given to them, which is my case. Yeah, I work for Costco. I'll be open about that.
Yeah.
I have been open about that. They give us a lot of vacation time, and I
do.
have so much that I have so much that I can afford to just use it on world progression. So like, and that is privilege, right? Like in Japan, like you can't. It's not just about. I mean, you correct me on this because you live there and you interact with these people on a daily basis, and this environment. If you even if you wanted to take an extra day off, there's like a sense of like shame. There's a sense of like you're like upsetting your workplace, and it's like really inconveniencing them, and it's very frustrating, and that's kind of sticks. Not to say that it doesn't in like any other culture, because it's certainly like if you call out a lot in America, like at my job, for example, if you call out a lot, you get a reputation for like you can't trust this guy. This guy's not trustworthy. He's not reliable. I'd imagine it's kind of the same but worse, given the working situation over there. The fact that you can't take off like more than 3 days.
Yeah, like it is. So to call it shame is putting it lightly. It's not just shame. It is the feeling and guilt of being an inconvenience, as well as putting other people like to do your work, your portion of the work, because someone else, so that it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like almost like a neat, like how a neat is like on a family. It's like you're actively dragging us down. You're actively like, and that all that does is just make every mistake on a pull feel that much more intense when there's that ticking clock to it.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, honestly. Yeah, it's
that's.
and like, sorry, I was just gonna say, like in the sense of NA, like there's always like for me at least, there's always I can just call out. Like if I need another day, I'll just call out.
Yeah.
Whatever. I have sick time. I have like 100 hours of sick time. I'll just call out. Whatever.
Yeah. I remember.
8 hours. Who cares?
I remember when Dawn Trail came out, I booked like a week off, and my manager did come up and ask, because they were like, you don't usually take off like during this time, or like when you do, it's just like 1 or 2 days. And they were like, so what's going on? And these were normally I wouldn't answer. I would be like, hey, that's my private life. I was just
That is
stun-locked.
crazy.
I was just kind of stun-locked by the fact that they like asked that question. I had to like really think on my feet. I was like, vacation wedding? They're like, oh cool, where? And I was like, Mexico.
Close enough.
Good enough.
Close enough.
Technically not wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah, it was for
Not
Dontra.
right.
I mean, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Actually. It's
yeah.
close enough.
And they were like, oh, okay, I hope you have fun. Like, you know, if you get good pictures. And I was like, I won't.
I'll forget.
I'll forget.
My phone's in my hotel room.
Yeah, and then
some mezcal though.
Yeah, and then I got back there like, how was the wedding? And I was like, oh my god, it was lovely. It was great. Please don't ask me for details because I don't remember a lot of it. And they were just like, oh, okay, so you like partied. And I was like, sure.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go with that.
I know my dumbass would have been like, "What wedding?" I'm like, the wedding you went to? Oh,
It's because afterwards I had put a note in like the application that we use to like manage our time off. I put in destination wedding like after I said that because I was like, well, I already said it, so
yeah, it's none of their business really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
I mean,
if I was more prepared for the question, I would have been like, that's not really a question that I want to answer. Because like you're my manager, I'm your employee. If like if I tell you that I'm taking time off for the new expansion in Final Fantasy XIV, you are just gonna like rescind my PTO, and there's a non-zero chance of that. And it was like, I don't want that to happen. I want to play Dawn Trail minute 1.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes we're asked to give explanations like why we need to take time off, and it's just kind of like,
I don't owe you that. I don't owe you that.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But yeah, no, I was just wondering because I'm just like, the differences between like the work cultures and everything like that is, it's just like, oh my god, how do you request that? That is. Yeah, but we were going into the next topic of like food and rest. Food and rest.
Oh.
Because Brian, you were just saying it's just like, I can't, like, you can't eat. Like you have to make sure you eat a balanced diet and stuff. Like through when you're playing, because otherwise if you kind of I am one of those people of just like, if you eat like shit, you're gonna feel like shit.
100%.
But I'm a food VTuber. I'm a food VTuber. I'm not a nutrition VTuber, but I mean, like, I'm still like, I would like to eat some good food, good healthy food, so I feel better.
Yeah. Turns out when you sit down on your ass to play a video game for a week straight, your body will start to do stuff that it's not supposed to do. Like you will like if you do not eat well, it will correct you. It will be like, yeah, haven't really got any vitamin D. Hey, yeah, I haven't really had, you haven't eaten a vegetable in like, a week because your meal prep had no veg in it. So yeah, I'm gonna start like really fucking your day up.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a real bad day.
Yeah.
And
go outside for 10 minutes. Go look at the sun.
Like for an example, like I had kidney stones is something that I found out during DSR prog. It was like a huge detriment to our prog and actually crippled our ability to finish the fight, unfortunately. Yeah, it was pretty bad. One of my healers is, I think, still upset to me to this day regarding that. First of all, because I didn't say anything, which is my own problem. But yeah, like if you do not eat well during prog, like especially world prog, you will pay for it. If you drink a lot of caffeine during prog, you will pay for it, especially if you time it poorly. Going into the preparation planning of this, you like planning food and rest. Preparation for world progression, it comes in two forms. It comes in the form of your sleep cycle, your circadian rhythm, making sure that lines up with when you need to wake up.
It's their job.
For people in Japan, that can be extremely difficult if you work a normal 9 to 5. It can be extremely hard to have to shift that, if at all, if you even have a chance to do that. In NA, it's the same, or anywhere else in Europe, it's the same problem. having to completely flip your sleep schedule a week before, if that's something that you that is really going to affect you. I know several people. My old co-tank Sindolf needs like a week plus to really set in stone their sleep schedule. Detoxing from caffeine, not drinking more than like a cup of coffee a day. If you're someone who is like, when you're at your job, like halfway through the day, you need like a pick me up, like you have to let that go. Like you can't reach for the energy drink. You can't reach for the second cup of coffee. It will fuck you. Like it will cripple your ability to get a boost in the middle of progression when you really need it. And like, if you're world progging, you cannot, and like, you would think like, oh no, I'm going to be zoned in. I'm going to be like I'm going to be like active, like bleeding edge progression. Like I'm going to see a new mechanic that no one's seeing and it's going to energize me. And that might be true, but like if you're not caffeinated, you're actually tired and you're physically tired, you can feel it bogging you down. It will cripple your ability for like, if not you to physically do things for a long period of time, to mentally want to engage with things. You see a new big mechanic, like you see Forsaken, right? Let's take like the first day. You see Forsaken and you're like, and you're tired because you didn't detox. So you're like trying to, or like you're like tired because your caffeine and your energy levels are all over the place. And you see that and you're just like, dude, I don't want to do this right now. Or like, you'll like, give a half-assed response to it. Or like, maybe someone else will figure it out. Like you can't have that attitude going into something like that. You have to have an active, like, okay, let me look at this. Let me engage with this mechanic. Let me see what's going on. Okay, we have, 2 cones, 2 circles, and there's the people that need to bait. Where can they stand? Things like that. Like if you're tired, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. So that's why like food, rest, and like, especially anything that, like, if you're someone who drinks coffee and caffeine is something you rely on, like you need to make sure it's effective for you. It's really important.
Because sometimes when you're going on empty, like especially I think like, especially day one, I think is the hardest, because you're basically going to sit down and say to yourself, I'm going to see this upcoming 30 seconds 1,000 times today. Yeah. I'm going to see this upcoming like 30 seconds until I'm so fucking sick.
And the strat for that will change. And the strat for that could change too. In the middle of the day, when you really don't want it to, when you're really thinking about other things, when you're thinking about like, Forsaken, or you're thinking about like, Black Hole or a P4. And it's just like, suddenly it's like, hey, there's a better Forsaken strat. And you're like,
that happened to me.
Don't do that. And you're like, fuck. And then you're like angry, and like, or maybe you're frustrated and you're like, I don't want to do this, but you have to, like, it's like, it's going to help, because you look at your wipe log and you notice, like, you see like the P2 column for the wipe log is like massive, and you're like, Jesus Christ, we really like wiped a lot to that. And you're like, okay, we have to change the strategy, we have to change it. And like, you accept that, and it's just, it's tough. It's hard.
Aoi and Lune can attest to this, because I was keeping them up to date on my prog, and like, we changed 3 times how we wanted to do P1 and 2 times how we wanted to do P2 after I had spent an hour reading guides and an hour and a half of simming. Like, I'm like, okay, we're gonna do Google slides for Forsaken. This is what we all agreed on yesterday before we broke. I did, 2 hours of simming for this, and then 10 minutes before we get in, our healer's like, can we swap to Renan 341? I think it's just better for everyone. And I'm like, oh, god damn it. Sure.
Yeah, you want to have that knee-jerk reaction, like, no. And sometimes like in world progression, that is like the acceptable response. Like sometimes it's like, no, we're not changing that, like, because you shouldn't, or like because it really doesn't matter that much. Mm-hmm. Like, especially for like a potential, like, oh, hey, we're just doing this other thing that's slightly easier, and it's like, what is that? Have we wiped to that? And you like check the log. I was like, no. It's like, not changing that. Why would you change that? But like in other cases, like the shift in Forsaken, that 90-degree shift I was talking about, where you have the cones go to the inside of the boss's, like the inner ring on the boss's hitbox, where it connects, or like intersects with the tower, and like having that shift over, that makes that mechanic 100% consistent. You will never wipe to that ever again. unless someone goes to the wrong spot, but that's like going to happen anyway, right? So that is a massive boost, like, to success. It was for us. The second we adopted that strategy, we did not wipe to Forsaken because of like positioning shenanigans ever again. It was because someone completely just went to the wrong spot. It would be the only time someone died there.
Now,
and that's why PF adopted it. Go ahead.
And someone in chat did ask, going back to the self-care topic, they asked, from Queen Anthai, do all top statics do self-care, or are there sometimes competitions where groups who have like IVs of Red Bull in their veins kind of win out? This is just what they said. I read it verbatim.
I don't know if you mean like having someone like get food for them or like prepare food for them. That is definitely a thing in World of Warcraft racing. That's a completely different topic, and that's a completely different set of like things to worry about. Like where you have chefs on site making food for you. That's definitely
that's in WoW.
Yes.
Wait.
Yeah, we don't have to get in. You don't have to get into WoW racing. It's completely different, and it's way more. It's a lot more inaccessible.
It's okay. We're in ad break. We have 15 more seconds. That's interesting. I think I do recall during FRU, one of the teams, I think it was an EU team in particular, did have like a chef of some sort, or like some sort of catering service.
Who was it?
It was Echo. Echo, which is a World of Warcraft rating group.
They
sponsored. They sponsored Neverland to go to Germany and perform through. It wasn't all of Neverland. It was some of them agreed to do it, some of them did not. The ones who did were on stream. Like I know that Ara was there. I know that Raimi was there. Two people that I used to raid with in TPS. Suki was there. If you know who that is, he's on Banana Codex now.
Yes.
He's their physical range player. Suki was there. Suki was actually on the camera a lot of the time. He was definitely the most animated of them. They did have a chef on site because Echo has access. They have the financial resources. They have the ability to rent out space for the players, and they gave them those resources. They lent those resources to them, which I don't want to get into the topic of World of Warcraft racing, but it is definitely not an equal playing field. If you have ever watched that race ever, it is nothing like 14 at all.
Oh yeah. I watched, I forget what fight it was, but I watched like a little bit of it for the last expansion, and just like
earlier we were talking about gear gating. It is still very much a massive part of World of Warcraft. You get gear gated on every tier, and you need to purchase BOEs and all kinds of other stuff. But anyway, yeah. So
I used to do some stuff in Burning Crusade for raiding, and like there's a reason why I am so hesitant to ever touch WoW ever again, because raiding in there was just so much categorically more toxic than it is in 14. But that is like I understand the people who do it and why they do it and why they love it, but I'm like, it felt like such a second job.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lune, can you read the question again? I wanted to know if I answered it effectively.
Yes, they asked, do all the top statics do self-care, or are there, like, competitions with groups who have IVs of Red Bull in their veins? Like, there's historically, who wins out?
A lot of groups, if they do self-care, people have realized is very important. Had I done self-care, I probably wouldn't have had issues with my kidneys myself in my personal experience. Other people just, I mean... IVs of Red Bull is very true for some groups. Later, when we talk about what some other teams are doing, I will definitely share what some off-stream teams were doing, and you may find that very interesting if you have not heard some of the information already. So
no, I don't think I have, and I'm very excited to hear about it.
I want to hear about this.
Not that Poikos was like not extremely fun to watch, and definitely the highlight of the whole tier, but there are other groups that were not streaming. Doing some crazy shit.
Well, We could always segue into that one in terms of the information that you might have. I'd love to hear about what some off-stream teams did.
Well, of the teams that were performing this year, if we look at the list, you can see that like TBD was an off-stream team for Japan. It contained people from. There were a lot of the people from the group that everyone said cheated and threw, which I mean is completely. Anyone who says that, you cannot trust them. Like a red dot on a screen does not indicate anything. And if you've ever played with Pixel Perfect, if you know what that is, it puts a dot under the center of your character.
Yeah.
Is it cheating? I would say yeah, but does it like by the definition that people would use, yes, but if it doesn't actually make a massive difference to where you could win or lose based on it,
no.
That's debatable. That's really debatable. No self-respecting world first player, no self-respecting world progression player will ever claim no, they did not win. They won. For sure, and they were off stream, and that that's the true world first race, and then there's Frosty's streamed race to world first.
Yeah,
and the group that won that is DN. DN won that race fair and square, arguably just as prestigious, if not more so. Very impressive from them. So, but the off stream teams that were doing some crazy stuff. One great example, I'm sure they won't mind me talking about it now, is Party Finder. If you know who that is, it's Kana's group. It's the group that Sindolf was ninthing for. It's the group that has Alex Flair, Tiamat Pendragon, lots of old names that people will surely remember if you've been in the community for a while. Klops was also ninthing for them, if you remember Klops from Elysium. He was in a lot of the early world firsts. He was ninthing for that group. They were very far ahead of everybody. Everyone who was streaming, we don't know how far, if they were ever ahead or how far ahead of name TBD. We don't know if they were far. Those guys obviously weren't streaming, right? But they were doing some crazy stuff. They were like staying up for 24 hours. Sleeping very little. They were taking like short naps. Like their sleep. Most groups sleep about 8 hours. They were sleeping. If the information I received is accurate, they were sleeping like 4 hours, 5 hours. Maybe sometimes less, depending.
Those are numbers I pulled in high school.
The reason for that is because if you've ever been in Bleeding Edge World Progression, it's not because you're insane that you do hours like that. It's because you truly cannot sleep for that long. You get nervous. You go to bed anxious. You wake up. If you've ever tried to sleep for 8 hours when you're doing Bleeding Edge, I'm sure other groups can attest to this. They wake up maybe after 5 hours.
Yeah.
And they can't go back to sleep. And so they just start looking at, their footage and going over like what other groups saw and then like making strat diagrams and maybe like making your own strats. They took that and were like, hey, none of us are going to be sleeping 8 hours. We accept that. We're just going to let's just do 4 or 5 hours tonight. I don't know if they did that every night or if it was just a couple nights that this happened, but they're like, let's just do like 4 or 5 hours and just jump right back in.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And on the last push, when they saw Enrage or they were really close to killing it before most groups were, and they were very far ahead, and they were like, hey, we're on P5. I think we can kill this. And they tried to stay up. I believe Sindolf said it was upwards of like 30 hours. They stayed up 30 straight hours. I think they took a nap, like a really short 2-hour nap in there somewhere. But they they pushed super hard trying to kill it. And the problem is the last phase actually had hands. Like the exaflares are deceptively annoying. Like if you're tired and you don't understand exactly what's going on, or you didn't take the time to like really look and like what's going to kill you there, yeah, you're gonna take a damage down. You're gonna die, right? And unfortunately, when you're awake for 30 straight hours, that's gonna get you. And so like some of these teams are doing some crazy stuff. Like I mean, people thought it was crazy that Poikos was pushing at like their 16th hour, 20th hour, I think was that one, their last final push.
20th,
So
yeah.
they're like 20 hours trying to push. And like, what are they doing? Like, why aren't they sleeping? Like, yeah, because they have no other choice. It has to die now. It has to. They know it has to die now.
Well, that was one of the problems with kind of, or one of the things by having so many stream groups now going. Because there's so much more prevalence of like 9th men, 10th men watching stuff. If one group figures something out, every group now has the opportunity to catch up.
Exactly. And when you're offline, you don't have that disadvantage. If you find something out, it could be hours before the group figures it out. You know, and you're not streaming, so no one knows. And like everyone was like pointing to like, you know, when Main TBD posted their clear screenshot and you see Poikos, like the streamers, like you see Rukaharu like crying on stream, and it's like that it wasn't just winning on stream that mattered to them. They wanted to win true world first on stream for an ultimate. That is a very tall order. It is a very difficult thing to do. An 18-minute fight, you win on stream first before anyone does, and you were streaming the whole time. Like, you can imagine the emotions kind of coming forward and like kind of rushing out of you and being like, fuck man, we were so close. Like, if I just, and especially the Dragoon player that took the damage down on their 4% wipe, like, you know, I don't know how you sleep at night after that. I think he made a post that was like, I'm trash, and they would have been better off with anyone else but me in the group. And then everyone kind of came together and like comforted them on Twitter. I don't know if I have that post, but there's like, yeah, I mean, I totally get that. It's terrible when the reason that one of your pulls failed is because of a mistake that you made. It sucks. Took a damage down during Exo Flares, man. It's the tale as old as time. It's unfortunate as fuck, but it happens.
I mean, like, even we were saying earlier that, like, in light heavyweight, the difference between world first and world second was 21 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the closest a world race has ever been. And probably will be for a while. It's actually incredible. Even this race was only like, what is that, 5 hours apart?
It was pretty close. Let me double check.
Yeah, DN killed it about like 5 hours later, I believe. Or
let me double check the world race.
Yeah, it's just under 5 hours. Under 5 hours.
TBD cleared at 12:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then DN cleared at 4:57 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, they were. It sucks for DN because, like I said, like DN caught up. DN was kind of behind, like maybe around the Forsaken period, but they caught way up, and their consistency was so good through P3 that they caught all the way up. And even past like Poikos and other groups, and they were like really, really close to getting it. Yeah. So like when TBD posted that clear screenshot, like it's so earth shattering, it's heartbreaking. You know, it sucks. I've had that happen to me personally in Uwu. We were one pull away from killing it. We went to sleep, woke up an hour before we woke up. You know, the EU team had killed it, and that was a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling knowing that you were that close.
Yeah.
It sucks. 20 seconds in some cases. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's hard to feel good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Poikos had such a lead for the longest time the entire race.
I mean, they were the fan favorite to win. Everyone was cheering. Everyone that I knew was cheering for either Poikos or no CCHH, which also, this was the first time that China and Korea got to go into the world race. It was the first world race in 14, which is amazing.
So no CCHH has actually been playing for quite a long time. They've been world racing for a long time on JP servers. So
really?
They played on they played on JP servers. They've been racing for a long time. There's another group, if you look down on the actual list, it's called Stolen Flame.
Yes.
Those guys have also been world progging for a long time. Obviously, now that there are Chinese servers, they can play on China, but for a long time they would just play on Japan. They would just go to the
Really?
Japan servers and play. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that that's accurate, especially for no CCHH. They've been doing that for a long time.
I'm curious as to how they were able to get access to the JP servers, because I thought it was...
There's ways for them to get around. Like everyone, people point to China's like Great Wall of Fire or whatever as like this impenetrable barrier.
You can get through it pretty easy.
People have just no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
No, and that's why they were so close. That's why they were right on Poikos' ass for most of because you don't get on Poikos' ass, which is full of Lucrezia players who've been playing just as long as most anybody.
Yeah.
They've been playing for 12 years.
Yeah.
You don't stay on their ass because you weren't practicing or were they didn't come out of nowhere. These guys have been playing for a long time. In some cases, just as long as them.
Yeah.
That's why no CCHH was right on their ass the whole time, because they've been doing this for a long time. And honestly, Hidden Flame 2, they were really close early on. You can even see
because they got P2 third clear for P2.
Yep, they were right there too. They slowed down a little bit towards the end. That happens. But if you take a look at the clears, like it was, the last phase has hands.
Yeah.
And if you don't respect it, you get them. Yeah, it's funny. And you see like some old names on there. Obviously, Kindred, Serenity. Like Serenity is full of people who've been playing the game for ever. Kindred full of people. Like some of them aren't necessarily what I would call newer players, but in terms of like the longevity of the game, they are relatively kind of like new-ish compared to Lucrezia. And they still perform pretty damn well. A little slower in some early parts, but they caught right back up at the end.
Yeah, I think with Lucrezia, there was a lot of new players because Poikos was filled with the older Lucrezia group.
Yes.
And
when I'm referring to Lucrezia, I am referring to the members of Lucrezia who formed Poikos. Sorry if it wasn't clear about that.
No, it's okay. Yeah, just to make it clear for everyone else, but yeah, oh man, it was a very intense world first race, I think, because I don't think emotionally so many fans got the emotional investment in this one was so much more focused on the players.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that since DSR.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
They also did something that I think was really smart in how they set this fight up, where phase 1 in Kefka is not particularly tough the first time you do it. But there's always that sense of unease of I feel like there should be something more we're doing with arrows. I feel like there's something more we should be doing with these knockbacks. I feel like there's something more. And then as soon as they got to the fake phase 2, ending, and we were like, all right, we have a genuine puzzle mechanic again.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Yeah. I definitely feel like the race picked up after that. It was oh shoot.
Yeah, I think when people saw the fake out clear, that's when everyone was like, oh, they're not playing.
Yeah.
Also, by kind of doing that, you had a lot more groups in those first couple of hours who were making it further and further into seeing Kefka Phase 1 mechanics, into seeing Forsaken, compared to something like Panto Creator, or who are not getting out of Phase 1 for an entire fucking day. Have fun seeing those tethers for the next 16 hours.
I think one thing that really highlights, you can take a look at the effects of, is how effective your ninth men are. The Korean team one and done. Saw, if this sheet is accurate, I wasn't 100% keeping up with the race, but if it's accurate, I think I remember this. They saw P4 first, and they saw it on stream, and the problem is P4 is a debuff barrage, and if you don't break it down into parts, it will overwhelm you. And that's where having a ninth man really comes in clutch.
Mm-hmm.
There are spreadsheets that you can use and make. So if X Death casts one thing and then Chaos casts another, you can tick it off these boxes in a spreadsheet, and you can make it so that the spreadsheet spits out a macro at you when the mechanic is all the casts have gone off and everything's been assigned. It spits out a macro at you that tells you everything that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So like the first two casts that X Death do, they're both fake, which means every bomb is motion, means it's water spread, and it also means that every single gaze is look in.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that ahead of time, and it's in the macro, so you don't forget it, and then you don't have to think about what's my bomb. It's motion. They're all motion. You know that, and so you just move every single time it's time for a bomb to go off. You don't even have to look at your debuff bar if you're nervous. Just move, right, or jump, or whatever it is you do. But if you don't have someone breaking things down, one thing that I had broken down for me was the colors. So you guys know how it assigns you your color and like your like Allegan Field debuff or your
Black wound, white wound,
or beyond death.
Yes.
Well, because that cast can be fake or real, and like you have to sit there and think about it. But the problem is it's a binary mechanic, which means that it cancels itself out because both debuffs are applied to you with one cast. What was explained to me through the way that Party Finder did it was that they said solve it like Savage, which means that you look at your debuff, you have purple and Allegan Field. That means you need to live, right? Because Allegan Field, if you take damage, you blow up and kill everybody, right? So if you have purple and Allegan Field, you need to live, so you go to blue. So you ignore whether the cast is fake or real, because if it's fake or real does not matter, because the debuffs that are assigned to you are binary, so it's kind of like fake complexity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't. What ultimately matters is not that cast doesn't matter at all. You just look at what you have, solve for it, no matter whether the cast was fake or real that applied it to you, and then when you solved it, Neo X Death teleports across to another part of the room, and that's the cast that matters.
Mm-hmm.
That if you have purple Allegan Field, you need to get to blue. If it's fake, you flip it and go back to purple. Does that make sense? Because you solve it in your head beforehand, and then you see whether it's fake and flip it. Yeah. That's all you do.
You basically negated too, do I do the mechanic or do I fail the mechanic?
Yes. Yeah, basically. Because if you think it, like a lot of people initially were overcomplicating that. I was like, what if it's, this, what if this one's fake and this one, but because they're both applied at the same time, it's just a double, like it's binary, so it doesn't matter. You just ignore it. You ignore the fake or real cast is a complete psych out.
Yeah, there are only so many permutations that it can have. And people are worrying about permutations that just don't exist.
Now, if he applied the debuffs individually to you, like it was, fake, your purple's fake, but the Allegan Field is real, then it gets really annoying. Then it's frustrating. But because he applies both to you at the same time, you can just solve it like Savage and go from there. Again, Party Finder has some really good VODs to watch for that phase. If you're someone who's getting there for the first time, you can see how they sound things out to themselves and use macros, and it's just really effective for learning how that phase works, at least like it should work. So, but yeah.
I was just happy to see Neo X Death again. So
yeah.
I joked that this fight felt like everything that they couldn't fit into top.
Yeah.
And I was so happy with that. I love FF5, X Death and Neo X Death are probably two of my favorite fights in the game. So as soon as I I remember waking up, because at the time all we had was the fake out ending. The like people hadn't gotten to phase 3.
Yeah.
And then I just remember waking up and seeing like a message from you guys on Discord, like
look at this.
They made it to phase 3, and I just see Chaos and X Death spawn in, and I'm like, I've been waiting for this moment since fucking top.
Yeah, I was actually my So it was my sister's graduation the weekend of the World Race. So my brain was going between my sister graduating to seeing my family to watching the world first and like doing all of these things. And I think Summer Games Fest was going on at the same time. So like mentally I was in all of these different directions, but I was always checking back in. And I knew that if I wasn't able to see something during the world first, I had Aoi, I had Tom, and I had like 10 other people all messaging me about stuff in the world race, going like, Poikos made it to P4, DN made it to
I
P5.
was just a little
like
Poikos fangirl.
they were just like, oh, this happened. You'll never guess what the commentator said. And I was just like, okay. It's good to know that there's so many people watching.
It was really fun also being able to turn on Mog Talk and do the Leonardo DiCaprio point and say, hey, I know those people. I know Gale. Gale's on stream now. Yay.
Yeah. It is nice that the community stepped up, and like Frosty has been running like the Mog Talk World Races for quite some time now.
Oh yeah.
Essie, can you do something, please? I know you're allergic to international things, but can you do that? Anyways, but
I will.
it's just really it's really great seeing the community come together.
Yeah.
I will say though, and I know that this planning wise is a logistical nightmare. I actually I gave Gale and Jonah, who both talk to Frosty more often, I'm like, give them my card. I would love to work on some behind the scenes of this, like as a fucking producer, because I would love to be a part of that. But logistically a little bit of a nightmare. I wish 100%. If I could have one thing change, I wish they had a little bit more like some of the every commentator was fantastic in their own right, but I wish they kind of had it spread out a little more so that you'd have like a person who knows a little bit more about the mechanics and stuff going on. There were definitely one too many moments where you had like 3 people who were all like, I don't really touch anything harder than extremes, but this seems to be happening.
Yeah, no, that was
like
definitely
it's nice to have like nice to have like one person who's like,
yeah, it would be nice if
yeah,
you continually had
an
expert or more experience.
Yeah, like it would just like to why they wiped. Like there was like times where like you could see a wipe coming. Like for example, like in the last phase in phase 5, if you look at an Exaflare, the general rule of thumb is unless you're extremely good at the game, and there are people out there that can do that. A lot of the wipes you saw in Exaflare, they look at the Exaflare and then before solving it, which is just literally just move to you're looking at the Exaflare coming from the D side, move to the safe spot. And then turn your camera, right? You could see that they would look at it, not move, and then turn their camera to the next Exaflare. And it's like, this guy's dead.
Yeah.
And 5 seconds later,
they
get run over by an Exaflare. And you see that coming.
Yeah.
Anyone who's paying attention and knows a little bit about rating could be like, hey, he just made a big mistake.
Yeah.
Like, he just messed up. We're about to see him die, and that's unfortunate. And we're gonna see how they recover from that. And it's having someone who just knows a little bit about what's going on would be helpful, I think, to the quality of the broadcast, to the quality of this is a completely volunteer run project, and it was for charity, and like that is an incredible feat that Frosty achieved.
Yeah.
The problem is most people who would do something like that, someone who would comment, would be someone who's already in there, right? Yeah. So it's hard. I understand that. But like there has to, in my opinion, like you should try to get someone on who knows what's going on. And there is a couple of people that he brought on that do know stuff. Like Muni Evans has been, I mean, that guy is ancient. He's won a couple of world firsts in like ARR, and he also won. He defeated. Oh my God. Manipulator. Yeah, Manipulator first. And he still has it. Unk's still got it, bro. He still knows he knows a little bit about what's going on.
Like if you ever have like a couple of hours to kill and you want a like genuine snapshot of what raiding was like back in the day, find Klops is like they're like each like an hour and a half long, where he just goes through the pull of like A8S or A4S or A12 or rating in Heaven's Word as a whole, and like you learn so much about these fights and how they were handled and how they like they're great. I always put them on for like background noise if I'm editing something or whatnot. They're great for that.
If you could send one of those to me, I'd really appreciate it actually, because I love learning about how they rated back before like TP was gone, or like when you needed to deal with the accuracy caps.
Oh
God,
I can only imagine.
Like there's a POV from their black mage which is scrubbed from the earth now, but he oh no, it's not gone.
You found it?
You found it?
Yeah, sorry, here it is. This is this. There we go.
Oh my god.
That's the world, that's the living liquid world first from the Black Mage POV. I don't think it has cons.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, you have some
I've definitely seen this.
You have some really old names there, but yeah, I mean that's kind of how things were back then. I mean, it's not as exciting as it might seem, but things were definitely different.
Yeah.
Definitely different.
I forgot I may not watch this. My internet's about to. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Aoi, you still don't have internet.
I don't technically have proper internet. Thanks, Thanks, Japanese internet company.
Yeah, we've been wanting to do this for like we've been talking about doing this for like 2-3 weeks now, and we're like we have to wait until Aoi gets like somewhat good internet.
We need to wait until Aoi gets her internet installed, and then she messages us this morning like, so my internet's not here, and I just went, excuse me?
They said they have to talk to the building, and it's just a whole process. If we want to talk about Japanese processes sometimes and how much it frustrates me and why Square Enix sometimes does shit, like, yeah, and that's going to be an off-stream sort of thing, because I need to be drunk in order to talk about this. I need to be tipsy. I need to be tipsy if we want to talk
it's okay.
Company pod.
I've got some vodka. Yeah. We could definitely do that as an off-stream drinking.
I have plenty of issue. But oh man.
I guess one of the next topics, which is something that like I had to deal with it with my group, is dealing with kind of internal aggression, exhaustion, and toxicity. At what point do you kind of have to be like, this ninja's gotta go, this healer's gotta go, this like...
I mean, if you're world progging, you can't think about that. Like you just like from a world progression standpoint, the people that you signed up with, you should have a good enough understanding about that. It's just not something that ever comes up. It's like it's a conversation for after prog, but like during prog, the idea is you get them up to speed. You find a way to catch them up or to fix whatever the hell it is that they're having trouble with. For example, like someone going to the wrong spot during Forsaken, like be more clear about what tower, like, oh, I lost set, why did they wipe? You can ask them questions. You're like, oh, well, what happened? Well, I lost, I don't know what tower set I was on. I was kind of like just not thinking about it. You can pronounce the tower sets, like even the ones that kind of nothing's changing, like tower set 5. Just remind me, hey, we're not swapping on this one. Don't swap, something like that.
Yeah, and then just adjust the callouts as necessary.
Yep.
Yeah.
We ended up having to, in my group, we actually ended up giving our ninja the boot because it was day 1.
So when you said the ninja's gotta go, that was a personal story.
Oh yeah, because like I'll get to it in a second, but I had a very flip moment for a second there during our prog, because I initially started as our tank, as our warrior.
Yes, I do remember you told us that you had to swap to melee.
So we changed our strats over the course of the first 3 days. We, changed. So I made the joke after we like finally got like one good pull to third tower of Forsaken. I'm like, okay, we're all on the same page. We're all using the same strats. We had one good day and we saw a lot of prog. and my raid lead DMs me, and they're like, "If we kick the ninja, can you play monk?" I'm like,
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, okay, I'll learn the fight again.
That is an insane
That's
ask. I'm just
crazy.
gonna say.
Oh, it was cause like they were an all right, like their damage was fine. Their
Yeah.
damage was like where a ninja player should be. The problem was, while we're still very much cleaning up phase 1, they wanted to stop for 20 minutes and talk about what Forsaken strat we wanted to use, weigh the benefits, and even when our raid lead would be like, this is a conversation that definitely should happen, let's wait until break, or let's wait until like after raid tonight, because we still need to clean up phase 1. Like, we would get a pull that made it to Forsaken, and he's like, okay, now that we've seen Forsaken, let's talk about it. And we're like, we're still not getting there reliably.
Yeah.
Like, he would just not get it through his head. And most of our phase 1 wipes were caused by him not, like, wiggling to see his tether, not, like, checking to see if he had a confetti, not checking his arrow placement. And we were just like, I like, the snarkiest thing I said was like, let's worry about phase 2 when we get to phase 2 3 times in a row without wipes.
Yeah.
Then we can start worrying about Forsaken.
Which is a very fair and reasonable ask when it comes to progging.
To me, it's like, if the raid lead, if it's your group, then, you know, you set the tone. But if like if the raid lead is like telling me, hey, don't worry about this yet, let's focus on this and then get to it, what they say goes. Like, they're, you know, I've signed up for their group, their word is boss. Yeah. And if I'm continually like stopping prog for 20 minutes to go, all right, let's talk about this, like, I'm standing there as main tank, I'm like, am I okay to count down? No, I want to talk about this. We're like, I look at him, I'm like, okay, this is probably like your last day here.
Yeah, and then that's kind of why, like, I brought this up, because like watching some of my friends prog DMU, it's like I'm looking at kind of like the party comp and everything, and I'm just like, hey, the way that this person approached this, it doesn't seem like the most appropriate mindset to have going in when you need to problem solve something, or like to just create a team, like just make the team work, essentially.
You really have to be able to like take criticism of yourself as a player, try new things out without taking it personally. I had to learn that in Forsaken. We got through our first Forsaken one. We looked at the poll and we're like, okay, we're 5% in rage, even using the LB3. Silent, your damage is way low for what it should be. And they were right. My RDPS was something like 31k, which is, and I looked at myself, I'm like, I put my log into XIV analysis and checked it out, and I'm like, I didn't like drop anything. My rotation was kept up, and literally all it was just moving to a 0 GCD buff alignment instead of a 1 or 2 GCD buff alignment, and that jumped me from 33k at my best day to like 41k.
Wow.
But like for a moment there, because like that was the first time in almost my entire time playing the game where like I'm like, I don't usually pull like purples on monk in, you know, the tier, but I'm like a reliable blue to high green. Like, my damage should be well enough to get us through that. And it's like, no, buff alignments really do fucking matter that much when you have a 2-minute coming up at the end that you may only see 3 GCDs of.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that. We were talking about like the buff time, the window and everything like that, and the difference it makes.
You have to be able to say, okay, maybe there's something, like, I can't immediately be like, how dare, like, and there was a part of me that for a minute was like, well, I was upset at that because in that same pull that we had the 5% wipe, 2 of our supports got damage downs and 1 of our black mage died. and had weakness for like the last 2 minutes. So like there was a part of me that's like, I didn't call, blame me for my low DPS, but also I wasn't the only problem here. I couldn't take it like that. I had to be like, nope, I might have done the mechanics fine, but yeah, something is wrong with my damage, and I have to just check a couple of logs of, the better performing monks, see if they're doing anything I'm not doing, and if that's the case, then okay, yeah, let me look into my buff alignment. Let me look into, it meant having to learn a new opener for Kefka when my like muscle memory was so set on one thing, but the results I can't argue with. It jumped me up almost 7k in one day, literally by moving 2 buttons.
Yeah.
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 Now,
When it
But I
comes
think
to...
it's also. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say
all
that I
wanted
think it's
to
also
talk.
why trialing is so important as well.
yeah.
Like the best groups out there were doing, literally they were doing trialing since like they announced what the ultimate was at FanFest.
Yeah. I mean, internal, like when you're talking about trialing for people who are going to be toxic, like you should know that ahead of time if you're like a world progression static. But if you're like someone who's trying to break into it and you're just doing hardcore, like, yeah, there's going to be times where you recruit people that like just say, like that ninja that you had in your group, it's got to go, And a lot of the time, like even if you like everyone in your group and like things are going relatively well, like even your own mistakes can cause you to be toxic to yourself. Like it can be internal. Like at the same stroke of saying, like Tom was saying, I took responsibility for my damage, which is essentially what you did. You took responsibility for your poor damage, despite the fact that it wasn't just your fault, and you fixed it, which is what everyone should do. There's times where like you make a mistake and you're like, damn, I'm really frustrated now, and then you're mad at yourself for making a dumb mistake, and then you make another dumb mistake, and like it could be yourself, it could be someone else in your group that's not doing something, even though you try to communicate about it, and it's like the best thing you can do is let it go and try to be solution minded, try to be focused on problem solving, and you can do a post-mortem on like the things that went bad later. You really like, unless something absolutely must be addressed, like that ninja in your group, or like someone in your group is just really not up to snuff. Especially this happens a lot, especially in groups that are trying to break into hardcore. Sometimes you recruit somebody and they just can't do it. They run out of stamina. They're taking breaks every 30 minutes because they're tired. You can't even they can't stay awake for more than 12 hours, and it's like, okay, I'm really tired at like hour 10. Like that sucks.
Yeah.
Because now your whole group has to go to sleep and stop, and it's like no one's tired, so what? You're fucked basically. It's not fun. It's tough. It's hard, especially when you're trying to get into the space. But if you just keep at it and you try to be solution focused, it'll do a lot more good than dooming and basically giving into despair. And then maybe you don't clear because maybe you stop, you get tired, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and you quit, and then you never clear. And that sucks.
Yeah.
The thing I have to like continually say to myself is like, and it's the same thing with like PF, like anyone who's like, oh, PFs look so scary. I'm like, if I'm in a bad PF and I leave, that PF ended. I'm done. I never have to see those people again.
Yeah.
It's out of my mind. It sucked, but I'm not thinking about it anymore.
Until you see them in the next
It
PF.
sucks. Hit the bricks.
until they re-up the blacklist and destroy it again. So now all the people I blacklisted are back on my. I remember when we were at Fru, when we were at the like final push for Fru, our scholar really got in her own head about a lot of stuff. So if we had a mistake or she got hit by an exo line or something like that, she would be like, oh my god, I'm so stupid. I literally had to just go to her and be like, hey, that pull ended. That pull's done. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Focus on the pull. Focus on the pull happening right now. And because that's going to be the most important pull. Your next pull is the most important one. The one that you just did, that's over. It's done. You don't have to think about it anymore. Learn from it what you can, and just focus on what's in front of you right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something that I even had to sort of teach myself about as I was going back into doing Savage content recently, because when I got to light heavyweight at the beginning of Dawn Trail, when I was doing Brute Bomber A3, it was just M3. God,
M3,
wrong
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Where I
same skeleton, same bodies.
same skeleton.
Yeah, you're there.
But it was one of the things where I was kind of like, I was getting so in my head about it because I knew I could do better, but my body wasn't performing correctly. And it just kind of led to this sort of like Ouroboros. And like you said, it's that toxicity that really gets you. The internal toxicity will cause you to leave a PF and never want to touch the content again, which is what happened to me in Uwu when I was doing that for the first time a couple years ago. It was just a nightmare because I was constantly in my own head about it, and I didn't have anyone to tell me, hey, pulls over. You can stop being mean. You can stop being shitty to yourself.
That I particularly felt in M6. I remember that being like...
Oh god, M6. You see, I skipped Cruiserweight.
Oh, in a way,
I looked at it and I went, I didn't want to do it.
Ads are so much fun. The problem with ads, though, is like, if you mess up during ads phase, it's gonna be real fucking obvious who made a mistake during ads phase. And particularly, like, if you were a group for, like, at ads in Rage, and someone messes up, everyone in the party is like, oh, the fizz range didn't bait these things properly, or, oh, the off tank didn't mitigate properly, or, oh, the main tank didn't position properly. So the, like, that thing of like, oh my god, I fucked up and everyone can tell, was so prevalent and so, like, inescapable for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as someone... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't start raiding until literally Pandy Savages, I think. And even then, like, since I'm main healer, it was mentally very rough. Because I was blaming myself left and right, and my friends had to, like, keep me from feeling too guilty about just letting everyone down. Like, there was a moment where I absolutely shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had plenty of those
I was just
moments.
gonna say, you have to like let that go. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
And, like, but like, you have to forgive yourself. Also, like, especially when you're playing healer, you have more responsibility than a lot of people. Basically, like 100% of the time, like, or 99% of the time, I guess. So you really can't get too hard on yourself. Like, you really can't. You just have to. You have a hard role, especially if you're playing, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether you're playing like White Mage, whether you're playing Astro, whether you're playing Scholar. They all have their own little things that are really frustrating, and you just gotta let it go. And
I took Astro into high end once, looked at the cards, got so mad, and went, I'm just going back to White Mage. It's like, I'm not.
Doesn't help that they change every single expansion what the cards do.
I miss my RNG, but I guess this is fine.
In P5 during Forsakens, like, you really want to cast like a Glare, or you want to like on a Scholar you want to like Broil, but it's really scary because the amount of topping that needs to happen there, no pun intended, the amount of top that has to come from the healers there is scary, and you like want to hit a damage button, but you really sometimes can't, and you just have to wait and then cast Cure 3, or wait and then cast, consultation or whatever.
Consultation.
Jesus, why did they change it from Sucker? But yeah, it's just cast
you could just have Sucker 4. Easy.
You can just be like,
why
not? Sucker Extreme. It's fine.
I mean, I remember the only tier I ever did healing on while progging was on Abasios. And That was such a fucking bad tier to start healing on.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah,
cleared
definitely
P9. I couldn't wrap my head around limit cut at the time.
Like, there was also like 4 different
I
fucking
love
ways of
you.
doing it. That was like that was the first like real time I remember like the arguments on what strats you wanted to do, and there were like 5 ways of doing 11 strike whatever.
I think most groups that just because of the DPS check wasn't that bad, they just brute force tank LB'd it and went through it.
That's what I
that's what we
wanted
did.
to do, but I was in Party Finder, so I was not doing that, and everyone's like, you've got to do the mechanic correctly, and I was like, damn it.
I mean, the thing is, it's like...
I just couldn't read.
It's kind of a pain in the ass, too. Like, at least when we were progging and we were doing it, like, hour 1 or whatever, and it's like, you, like, see a mechanic like that, and you hear someone say, we can just LB this. It's like, you're going to just tank LB it. I mean, there's no question. It's like, I'll learn this later. I'm just going to tank it, because the goal is not to do it correctly. The goal is to kill the fight.
Yeah.
So, like, why are you doing it correctly instead of just... tank LB it.
Yeah.
You can kill it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheese it.
Just cheese strat.
Especially floor 1.
Well, like in a fight like Ultimate, when you cheese strat something like P3, like the beginning, like my group does that. But like there's definitely something to be said, like, yeah, you killed the fight, but really, like, if you're gonna trial, you really should know how to do that. And like we did do the phase correctly. It's just way easier to cheese it, like not having to worry about getting knocked back correctly. With the fire, you have to remember you have to stay distant. How distant? This much. Don't get hit by the electricity, and you have to face the right way. Which is, I mean, you have to do that anyway. But it's a lot harder to do when you're dodging. Lat long and then getting into position for fire and getting hit correctly. And just something as simple as remembering, with water you have to be right on top of the person. I mean, you can forget that and wipe your whole group. And there's so many different ways that, like, you killed it, but like, you didn't really do the way it was intended to be done. I mean, there's some merit to that. But in something like Savage, where the goal is to get through it as soon as possible, no one's going to blame you for just hitting the tank LB button and just moving on with your life.
Yeah.
Sprint versus marathon.
Yep, exactly. I was going to say, it goes back to what Tom said about Savages versus an Ultimate.
Yeah. Not to mention the strat that... Sorry, just really quick aside.
No, you're good.
Where people were skipping, like where people were kind of just skipping P3 part 1, like they didn't really find out about that until like that one group. I think it was Zenith. Before they used it, and then just kind of like most groups had cleared by the time, or just like been really they were both basically mostly done by the time they realized, like, you can just cheese that. And they were already on Enrage, like they're not going to go back and change P3. They're on Enrage of the entire fight. Like, why would they? They're on P5 Enrage. They're not changing that now.
Just do the muscle memory.
And like here's the thing, getting, like, as someone who's done it, getting through Forsaken without the melee LB is fucking hard. The DPS check for that has hands, particularly if you are, like, there is a chance that if you're a melee player, you might have to fuck off in Forsaken and disconnect from the boss and get out of melee range 4 times in a row. Like, I had that happen to me. I lost at least 3 GCVs. Yeah. You can get circle, cone, you can get cone, circle, there are about 3 ones that if you're melee, you just have to fuck off and disconnect. And you can get 4 of them in a row if you're unlucky.
That's awesome.
It really depends on your group too. Like, if your comp is bad in PF, then it'll happen a lot more. Because like in my group, like especially early on, we have a samurai who does a lot of damage, and because of that, we never have to want for damage ever. Like, there's times where you get to the end of P2 and like the boss is 1% for like an entire 10 seconds. Like, it's just like because it has, the comp just does a lot of damage. You have people who can press buttons. In PF, you're gonna have people who are PFing on jobs that maybe they're not super comfortable on, or they're just not comfortable with the mechanics, so they're not super, button conscious.
Yeah.
You're gonna make mistakes, and then it's close.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So yeah, it can be tough, and especially if someone gets a damage down or something, it has to jump off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
My favorite optimization in that is if you get a damage down, like the damage downs in this are the same ones from like top or Fru, where it's like a 90% damage down, which you're better off just dying. But if you hop off the edge of the arena in P1 in particular is huge. So running off the edge takes forever.
It takes like 5
And if
seconds
you
to
hop
run
off-
off the arena.
Yeah, and then it takes another like 5 seconds for your body to spawn in the center and be targetable.
Yeah.
So if you get a damage down, you just immediately want to run into the tank buster. You immediately want to just go north, because if you get hit by the tank buster, it's like 4 seconds. If you run off the edge and die, it's like 10 seconds before you can get back in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I do want to circle back to is that sort of like thought about cheesing a fight versus doing it legit. And that kind of goes back to our talks beforehand regarding stuff like in top, and then the whole controversy with when people thought that TBD was cheating, which, they really weren't. In terms of mod usage during the world race, and sort of the thought process of like why and is that, and how bad is it in regards to the spirit of competition, and then how does that affect sort of like Party Finder in the future when using auto markers and all of that is kind of mandatory in some fights like top.
I mean, you're really just denying yourself the experience. I think Rhaegar on Banana Codex said it best. You're just really denying yourself the ability to learn a fight.
Yeah.
If you use auto markers in top, yeah, you got a totem, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's sick. I mean, if you got the clear, I mean, there's plenty of other hard stuff that auto marker does not solve, and that you've done correctly. But you're denying yourself the satisfaction of having done the hardest fight in the hardest way possible. For some people, that does not matter, and it's more about, I got the totem, it's done, and I don't have to think about it anymore. And that's valid. I understand that for a lot of people, the experience of doing an ultimate is kind of like a social hierarchy kind of thing, where it's like, I got the clear before you did, or I got the clear early. I mean, there's a lot of doom posting on Twitter right now, if you've been paying attention. There's a lot of people who are like really in their own head about not having cleared week 3. Like even at the end of week 2, there were some groups that had not finished, like Statics, that like were going hardcore the whole time, that did not finish on week 2, and those people were kind of despairing and getting really upset. There's the very famous Yama clip that everyone knows, if you guys know who that is.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Crying. There's a lot of, and right now there's a lot of doomism, because today is of course Tuesday. This is now officially week 4. If you have not cleared it by now, it is week 4. So it's like a lot of the people are very upset. They think less of themselves. And so people are going to try to do whatever they can to make consistency better. But really, like, that's a decision that you have to make. In my group, like, because of the arrow jank and some other stuff, people just don't really care if you do. And like a lot of people just don't, like, it's not just my group. It's like a lot of groups just don't care if you do the LB3 for the tank LB3 for phase 3 part 1. They don't care. Whatever. It's whatever. There's other hard stuff in the fight. That's fine. Personally, I would have liked to keep it the old way, but I knew, I'm not going to be the person that stands up and be like, no, we should do it this other way for like ego reasons. Because I mean, it's kind of ego or like personal achievement. Like not everyone thinks that way, right? Some people just like, especially people who took PTO. Like if you're doing this world, probably people took PTO for this. They're not going to be like, no, I'm not. Like I'm not going to make them do the harder strat. Yeah. And I don't blame them for not wanting to do the harder strat. I really don't. That's why I did not fight it. When I saw that strat comes out, I was like, that's the strat. We're doing that. 100%.
We literally
and I don't
waited.
think you should feel bad. I don't think you should feel bad for that either. You really shouldn't.
We literally waited to see if it was going to be fixed in a hot fix, and as soon as it wasn't, we're like, okay, we're using it.
No, they're not going to go back and retroactively add, like, unless it completely breaks a mechanic, which, I mean, it kind of does, but, I mean, it's like, unless it completely breaks a mechanic entirely where you don't have to interact with anything, they're not going to go back and give it vulns. They're not going to go back and give the double wind of vulns where it kills you.
That.
It could, but, I mean, they're not going to.
I mean, they totally could, but...
They could easily do that, but they've never done that.
Yeah, it'd also just be shitty.
They're not going to. Yeah, because the problem is there's already people who cleared.
Yeah,
there's already people who use that strat and cleared. Now what? Right? Yeah. Now what? So you can't do it anymore. Those guys. Oh, those guys invented the strat, so it's fine. Well, there's other groups that used it too, right after them. Oh well, what excuse do you use at that point, right?
Yeah. Can't go and like invalidate a clear because you decided to fix something later.
It's really not as bad. I really don't think it's nearly as bad as auto marker either. Like auto marker is making probably one of the hardest parts of top, just completely nothing.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot of the thinking out for you, and that's the hardest part of that mechanic, of those three mechanics in top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just no, it's not the same thing.
I mean, if we want to go back even further, Garuda and Uwu. The early wake was not, or the late wake was not how it was intended to go. Yeah. Devs wanted Garuda woken at that very first
in the
right
cleanse?
away. And if you
what?
I've seen people, that's where the intended awaken point was. And if you go back and look at some of the later parts of Garuda mechanics, finding out just how they how they set up it for her woken mechanics, it's actually fucking beautiful. There's some beauty in that fight that gets completely negated by the late cleanse.
Huh.
It's wild.
That is insane. I didn't know that they wanted her to be awakened during like the initial cleanses.
Did they ever claim that? Did they claim that was what they wanted?
Yeah, so that was a interview with Mr. Happy, I think, very, maybe at,
I see. Okay, yeah,
a while back.
Because I remember hearing that, too, and I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure where it was sourced
it's
from.
What's the source? Yeah.
I just wasn't sure.
He interviewed, it was when he, one of them, it might have been Mr. Happy, it might have been another, YouTuber who interviewed Yoshi P, and they were like, was this intended? Or was it? And they were like, we didn't intend for her to be awoken so late, but it was a clever way of players clearing a strat we didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
It's a good strat. It's consistent.
Yeah, and I think going back to DMU, I really think that Zenith was really smart for being able to crack that out. It was pretty incredible. I think a few groups gave them a nod for that, because it is pretty awesome to break down to realize, hey, you can just kill me this. You don't
I have mad respect for anyone who can cheese a fight.
At that time, weren't people primarily using Tank LB3 at Forsaken, because the initial way they were doing that had 4 people with stacks at the end?
I think it was really only Poikos doing that, from what I saw. I think maybe some other groups picked that up, but most people were adopting DN's method of, or some version of the 90-degree cleave, and then realizing hey, the 90-degree cleave, no CCHH never changed off of the 90-degree cleave. They were just they're such good players that they were able to get pixel perfect positioning down pretty consistently, versus DN, who's we're not fucking with that. We're just gonna shift it over, and it's gonna be consistent, and it was, and it worked for them, and it was that's what PF does now. So it's their strat was a little bit less melee uptime friendly, because I think it could send tanks out to bait the cones. There's the adjustment that PF made that never happens. Your melees, unless you get circle or cone on the odd towers, you're basically always on the boss as a melee, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah. think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, but if you're really like, one way you can always challenge yourself as like, if you're in a static that's trying to get better and you're trying to push your group into like actual world progression territory, yeah, you should be, doing these doing the party list stuff and adjusting things for top and not using auto marker and doing everything legit and like doing that, making sure that people can do that quickly and adjust quickly and pick it up quickly. It's important.
It's also one of those things like Lune, you were saying earlier, when you know how the mechanic works, you can cover for someone. If if a healer dies, hey, I can stand in a healer spot, and it might not be a perfect run, but it might take us to the next mechanic.
It might kill me. Yeah, and it does 70% of the time. The amount of times I've taken a miso high tether during Garuda and then died because I got the searing in Ultima is so funny.
Oh, the fuck off searing.
The fuck off searing pisses me. Makes me so
I love whenever
leave,
like you get to the end of that and the healer who's all like did the entire thing perfectly, and then they take one step in too fast, and it's like you just see everyone get like bowling pinned knocked back into the wall.
I remember I had that happen recently, like on Friday, where I was doing something and I wasn't watching where I was, so like that was my fault. However, I was sitting there and I took like 2 steps back and I got hit by my co-healer Searing Wind, and I just absolutely shot to the other side, and I was like, well, no one's getting heals for the next 30 seconds because my co-healer has no MP.
My favorite moment
was when keep moving really quickly. Sorry, not to interrupt you guys, but I was, because we were talking about like, hey, like doing strats legit. Sims.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The whole controversy on are Sims. Should Sims be allowed?
I think Sims are great.
Sims are wonderful.
I think I am fiercely pro sim, because you still have to take the time. You still have to take the time to like learn the positioning. It's not aside from the ones that are actual literally coded 1-to-1 with the game servers, which I don't know how the fuck they manage to do that these days. If you're playing a healer, if you're playing support, if you're playing, in my case, doing it on melee, like I simmed Forsaken for some time to be able to like get there properly, and then it's like, okay, I also now have to do my rotation fucking properly too. Felt like it was like, okay, now that I have this one skill set, I have to now actually be able to do it in a proper run with the proper rotation, getting every greed I possibly could, using my disengage tools, which on Monk I have 6-sided star, and that's about it. So now getting as many good 6-sided star usages as I can matters a whole lot. Getting as many, GCDs before disconnecting and fucking off if I'm spread matters a whole lot. It does make fights easier, and you are not going to hear me like argue against that, but it also makes T-progging in PF so much fucking easier.
Yeah.
I really think it just depends on what your goals are. If you are if you're just trying to get this fight down with your team and it's like that's what matters to you, then that's what you should do. You should sim. You should sim. It makes it easier. There's definitely no argument there. It really doesn't affect anybody. You shouldn't not sim for the sake of public perception. That's stupid and a waste of your time and your group's time. If people, and especially if you not everyone can take PTO. Again, I go back to the accessibility thing. Most people who world prog, think about what they're doing. They're not working for a week straight. That is definitely privileged territory.
Yeah.
If you're someone who can't do that, if you are playing, you're like tired, you come home from work, you're exhausted like me, and like you're like, fuck, gotta play 14 now, man, come on. and like you're tired and like you know that you're not going to play well, dude. Simming is like a godsend to get your party like practicing something. But if you plan on doing world progression, if you plan on like really like going to bleeding edge progression, you will find, and you finally get there, you're going to find out that there is no sim. There's no sim for the Exaflares. There's no sim for Forsaken in world progression. You just got no help. You're on your own, buddy. You're on your own, and you need to find other ways to be consistent about that. You need to find other ways. Like, can't sim it. You can kind of sim it. You can go into T4 and put markers down and, you know, run around and do all that stuff. You can get the rotation in your head down and sim it that way. But there's no direct sim that's going to play the mechanic out for you while you're in downtime and like, okay, I've got it now. You can't do that. You can look at your footage. You can fake. You can in-game sim it with your markers in T4. And that's about it. Other than that, you just got to do it.
You can overlay your footage on top of your actual gameplay or something like that.
Again.
What?
Yeah. Again, like really, DN. There, people from DN said it really effectively. Like, part of the fun of being like at the bleeding edge of world progression is just the fact that you will see stuff that no one knows is coming. That's kind of why total blind prog is really awesome too.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to blind prog something without looking at anything or seeing anything or looking at data mining, or being just on the bleeding edge of progression, it's one of the thrills of it. Like, no one knows this is coming. Like, this is crazy. Holy crap. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And you have to solve it yourself. You have to solve that yourself. And there's no solution for you. You have to look at something raw and just be like, I guess let's break it down.
Throw a tank LB, get in your clock spot, and pray.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's like people who can do that and can solve things quickly. There's only a handful of people, at least in the NA EU sphere, that are really good at doing that. And those people are highly coveted for groups because you can't teach that.
Yeah.
You can't teach someone to be good at solving mechanics. It's something, in my personal belief, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
You either have the brain power to do that, or you can't. You can't do that, and it's just not what you're going to be good at. And because there's no way to practice it. You can make things up and like train it, but most of the people that I know that are really good at solving things, they've always been that way.
Yeah.
And it's the same like 5 people.
There is actually a really good browser game that came out recently called is it called Clockspot?
Yeah, Clockspot.
That basically kind of takes FF14 mechanics and builds it into like a
logic puzzle.
Like, yeah, you get a light party spread out on a clock spot, and it's like, okay, the tank needs to be a tank needs to be north, a magic player needs to be south, the red mage can't be next to a melee player. Like, you have to basically figure out where people need to go.
As the mechanics
are quote unquote resolving.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Great.
I'm
it's
just
so
bad
much
at
fun.
I saw groups, Saya from DN every single day up in the month leading to DMU was like, we're starting off, we're doing clock spots to get the mine warmed up. We're doing Topper DSR and then 08S minimum eye level unsynced gear reduced.
Yep.
That's an intense schedule, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm actually really like it's so nuts. I also really like that people have been able to come up with like ways of getting just enough gear to replicate what on content
would feel
the
like
fight would have been for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clockspot's mentioned.
Even that is that's my bad. Even doing that stuff min eye level and all that other stuff, like eye level reduced and all that, The goal is to have all your buttons so you can press all your stuff. But if you're at level 100, the boss will just miss you, and it's kind of like it's still like with the item level reduced stuff, it still kind of accurately reflects the gear at the time. So the healers still struggle to top you and stuff like that for the white hole mechanics and the Forsakens of OAS, but they still like that's why coming up with your own challenges is also a skill in these world progression groups, and DN I'm sure has no shortage of doing that as well. Like most world progression groups, you coming up with your own challenges to keep yourself sharp is super important for being competitive. We did it all the time in TPS. One of our members was really good at coming up with like challenges for us.
Oh man,
Those are cool as hell.
Like 2 Neuralink UCOB. I think someone did 1 Neuralink UCOB some years later.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Really? Baby Raider over here being like, "Oh no, this sounds scary."
No, it's possible. It's just about running in circles and getting out of the way in time and
I
stuff like
believe
that.
that.
So yeah, no, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I like the person who made a mod for UCOB that like incorporated
Unity.
like 20 new mechanics into it. Put the
Oh my
Clockwork Knight
god.
back into it.
It's called Raids Rewritten by Unity. It's been a project that he's working on for a while. Yeah, you can make UCOB much harder for yourself and your group.
Like, what if your twisters never went away?
Yeah.
Oh.
Stuff like that. Twisters don't go away. There's all kinds of other stuff. They've added mechanics. They add mechanics to existing fights.
Oh,
It's really cool that he was able to do that. If you guys get bored, it's something interesting to do. So
it's like a Kaizo Mario ROM hack of UCOB.
Okay.
That's really cool.
I just would like to remind everyone we're reaching almost hour 3 and we have not had a break.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
So I hope everyone's doing okay, but I think we're gonna probably try and wrap this up a little bit more. Did anyone have a favorite moment through DMU's World First Race at all? I mean, like, I know Brian, you were probably like progging in the middle of it, so. But did you happen to see anything that are just like, oh, that was pretty cool, or that was like a really emotional moment?
I think one of my favorite moments during the UMAD prog was specifically one of the days when Poikos woke up and they're like, oh, another team saw P4? Okay. They took like 20 minutes to review and they got there in like 1 pull. They just caught up.
Oh, They locked in that day.
Yeah, they locked in, they just caught up, and they were back at the top. It was really cool to see. I remember all my friends were messaging each other at the same time. They were like, holy shit!
And we took that personally.
Yeah.
Seeing Neo X for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was already so happy that X-Death was in it, and then as soon as I saw Neo X-Death and as soon as I like comprehended that it was Bowels of Agony debuffs and Grand Cross Omega with the reverse mechanic in there, that was probably the like happiest I got during this entire prog, because that was a mechanic I have wanted since they mentioned they were doing an Omega Ultimate years ago.
Yeah.
I think P4 was probably the most interesting part of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like seeing them get there and the Kefka says mechanics. Objectively, having done the fight, I think that is probably the strongest part of the fight. It really feels appropriate. It's kind of like a blue screen, but advanced.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a blue screen, but it's a very quick DPS check. It happens quick. If you have someone die, it very much impacts whether you make the check or not. But all of the mechanics at once, the teamwork it takes to get through it, at least the way that my group did it, delegating each person to do one specific thing, and anyone who didn't have their own responsibility was responsible for their bomb. It was fun, and it was very rewarding to get through that. Watching Poikos get there for the first time and seeing all that stuff together, I was like, yeah. It's kind of had the opposite happen with the last phase. I don't really think this is a controversial statement, but I don't really like the theme of the last phase.
It was underwhelming.
It's super underwhelming.
Distant Worlds Dancing Mad?
Oh no, not the
theme
music.
song?
So sorry, not the theme, like the
Oh,
the
right. Yeah.
The look?
The look of everything together. I understand what he's doing. Like he's taking on the look of like Neo X Death, or like some of the traits of Neo X Death and stuff like that. But like it's like the background is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be like someone said it's supposed to be like the inside of his like his weapon or I can't remember what that inside of the tower. You're supposed to be inside of his tower of destruction.
Yeah,
that he was you're fighting earlier
in Final Fantasy VI. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to be on the inside of the tower or whatever, but it just like, I don't know, like it wasn't.
It felt like there should have been
a little
one more
underwhelming.
Fanfare, more
One more
explosion,
phase.
Not even like one more. I know everyone was really excited for an extra phase, but like, it didn't even have to be an extra phase. It just like the colors. It wasn't as like DSR is intense.
Yeah,
DSR is intense. Like the cross blade transition where he hits your whole party with like a explosion from his blades, and then like how intense it feels to tank him there, and like all of the exaflares flying everywhere, the explosions. That feels really crazy to do.
Dragon King Thornton felt like the perfect sequel and evolution to Golden Bahamut, to literally the point where every casted ability Dragon King Thornton does is a Golden Bahamut mechanic. Exaflare's Edge, Gigaflare's Edge, Akmorn's Edge, Mornafa's Edge.
Yeah. Top has a really strong last phase, but I'm never going to expect them to replicate that. I don't think that's realistic in a fight like this, but like it just like thematically wasn't what I was expecting. I understand what's happening. I understand we're in the tower, all that stuff. I think lore-wise it makes sense, but it was underwhelming visually for me. So I think I know a lot of people felt that way.
It was kind of like it was kind of like going into Myths of the Realm and seeing Eulogia for the first time and just kind of seeing it as, in my opinion, a mess of a design.
I love that mess.
Yeah, but it's still a mess of a design.
You mean like
I know, but that's
about
great.
the last 24 man, right?
Yeah,
the last 24 man.
When you go in and they're all merged together.
Yeah.
Megazord style.
And you kind of look at it and you're just like, what am I?
Okay, we're out of time.
What happened?
What am I looking at?
We're out of time. What am I, guys? I'm out of time.
Here's my first draft of a design, I guess.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's I mean, like the designers are like, guys, we're out of time. How do we
Blender?
The game ships tomorrow. What do we do? What?
Exactly. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I know.
It looked like one of those shit posts of like people fusing 10 Pokemon together.
Oh no!
Yeah, I don't want to be mean, but that's kind of just what it didn't 100% feel like that for DMU at all. But it was definitely like, it definitely felt it felt like they were rushed a little bit.
Yeah.
Even just like I like the idea of using the Distant Worlds Dancing Mad. That was but like it feels a little anticlimactic to reuse the first two parts of Dancing Mad and not having like, hell, I'd have even been okay if it was just a fucking no mechanic striking dummy. Give me like 10 seconds of the final phase of Dancing Mad from Distant Worlds.
The music is not the strong point of this ultimate. It is not the strong point of this
ultimate. No, because it's Dancing Mad 5 times over.
It's Dancing Mad and then the battle theme from FF6, and it's like, bro, I'm
to the point where someone actually made a mod that replaced all the music in it with like other Distant World tracks and whatnot.
Getting to phase 3 and it's just the battle theme. It's like, bro, what?
Yeah. Well, Seraphim from chat is saying the final phase is
I think the final tower or final dungeon in Final Fantasy VI. So
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
and also Therum says, I feel like that could be a testament to Kefka. He doesn't want to give you the status.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, lore wise, it makes, because someone told me that, I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but like lore wise, it does make sense. It does. It's not like, why are we here? No, it like makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
lame. It's just very.
Because we're not fighting the simulation of Kefka. We're fighting actual Kefka.
Yeah.
That is, like, for me, I think like kind of the lore implications with this particular raid was just like, oh, this is if Kefka invaded Final Fantasy XIV rather than Final Fantasy XIV invaded Final Fantasy VI.
Mm-hmm.
Someone mentioned that like their take on it was that it was Kefka making fun of Terra's Esper form for his like magical girl Kefka form, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea.
That's
a
fun
little
to think
silly.
about.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can match the heights of like phase 3 and phase 4 are so good
Yeah.
that like how can you beat like now Kefka is giant and he's slamming his G-posed body onto the entire like arena. That's so
That
fucking
was so
cool.
much
It was really
fun,
funny.
'cause it was like, where do you go from there? And then it's just like when like I showed you like when they passed phase 3? No, when they killed X Death and Chaos, like, and then I'm just like, okay, so where do they go from here? And then all of a sudden it's just like there's big Kefka, and I'm just like, oh my god, how did you guys even notice that?
I remember actually seeing some data mines and seeing giant Kefka, and I sat there and I was just like, is it just gonna be like 5 phases of Kefka? And I just sat there, I was like, no, they wouldn't do that again, would they? And then they did, and it was peak.
Mm-hmm.
It was also kind of weird to have Celestiad be kind of like the overarching mechanic of the final phase, even if it's nothing like what Celestiad was in fight.
Mm-hmm.
The towers.
I mean, at the same, Forsaken was also kind of different.
The towers are like, it's just like one segment of the, like, it's actually really easy to do that mechanic correctly. What the added difficulty of it is, if you're the nothing and you have to flex, you have to keep in mind that you have to like follow your rule for doing that. Like if it's like the rightmost tower, like looking, because if you're not the nothing, you literally just can go to whatever debuff tower you have. Like say you get ice, like you can't take ice tower. You just go to the ice tower and just spin. You just spin in a circle. So you have like 6 people who are just spinning, which, I mean, that's easy, right?
Yeah.
That's not that bad. It's like a choke check basically. And then like your choke check is your 2 people who have to fill the empty tower.
Yeah.
Or like the one extra tower. Those people have a hard job because they sometimes have to run really fast to the other side of the room. Everyone else just spinning in a circle, and it's just like make sure you get in or out.
I do like that phase 5 conceptually is less of a mechanics check. It's like 1 or 2 choke mechanic checks of Exaflares or Celestiad towers, but like the real crux of phase 5 is your mitigation, your healing, your tanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exaflare is also, unfortunately, for a lot of groups, the story of that phase. If the mitigation wasn't a problem, if your tanks weren't the problem, it was Exaflare.
Mm-hmm.
It is deceptively annoying. It's easy, but if you don't solve it the way you should be doing it, you just die.
Yeah.
Fun fight.
Yeah.
Fun fight. I can't wait to do it in 2 expansions.
We'll get there one day.
I definitely think it's a step up from Fru.
Oh, yeah.
And I say this as someone who loved Fru. Like, I loved Fru.
I don't think anyone will argue with you.
Yeah. Fru is visually beautiful for me.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone else thinks that, but
Way
I thought it was visually so beautiful.
Pandora sits sick, boss. Sick.
Pandora is so cool.
It's so cool.
It's very
and
funny
then also
that
just like the thematic implications of the idea of Pandora regarding Greek mythos and how Pandora's box at the very bottom you find hope. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is just the
Yes.
story of
I'm re-
Eden. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about Final Fantasy VIII? Because I don't. Okay.
I still need to play it. I still need to play it.
Oh no. Okay. I have so many people around me replaying 8 for me, and I'm just like, I gotta hold it all in. I gotta keep it in. Anyways. Okay. So we're all playing Final Fantasy VIII now.
Oh my god, group.
It's actually funny because like again, a lot of the like phase 5 in Fru, my favorite part of the entire fight.
Mm-hmm.
Top like it and phase 4 and phase 5 are both like peak Fru for me. And I did not like the first
things to say.
I didn't like the first two phases of it.
It's fine. You're good.
I like Fatebreaker, but there were just so many like annoying little things in positioning in Shiva and in Fatebreaker that like
I still need to clear.
We don't need
M4.
to count Fatebreaker. He's not in Final Fantasy VIII, so it's fine. I mean,
I need to clear M4 and just like go back and do it. That way I can unlock Fruit because it is a fight that I really want to do.
Mm-hmm. It's one that's worth it just for the music alone.
Oh yeah.
God.
I remember
like Gaia is still fun. Gaia's like phase is still fun as hell.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching the world race while I was at work. And like I was doing a job where I could just have it and I was just listening in the whole time. I remember one of my colleagues was looked over my shoulder and was like, "You watch it?" I was like, "World race for Final Fantasy 14." And he went, "Oh, okay. What?" And I just went, "You wouldn't get it." And then I saw that they cleared like day 3 and I was like, "Well, what do we do with the rest of the time?" That was a quick clear.
Right?
Like I was
a little sad how quick it was.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't watch too much of Top. I don't remember where I was, probably in a new job or something.
I don't think I watched any of Top.
DSR, I was glued to the screen. I swear, like
yeah.
DSR was when I was still in ARR. I was in ARR when DSR came out. So, unfortunately, that's what spoiled me to Horschifon's death.
No!
My entire Twitter timeline was like, "We can save Horschifont this time. He's not gonna have to die this time." And I was like, "Wait, I just met this guy." I was like, met this guy. Like, obviously, there was nothing we could do. DSR was coming out at that moment. But I was just sitting there like, shit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was so funny though.
That would have been a hard time to come in because like I don't think like anyone there was no way any of us could have been like, okay, spoilers on the down low, unless you like absolutely went no social media that entire week.
Yeah, and like obviously I wasn't not gonna do no social media because like I had no idea that DSR was coming out. So I didn't watch the live letter, so I had no idea that they announced DSR.
Yeah. Okay. We are hitting the 3-hour mark, and I think we have wrapped up most of our topics for today.
We have.
Yay!
Do we have any final things that we want to say? Any final things that the chat may want to ask us?
Kind of. Final question for everyone here.
Yes.
If you could take out a single mechanic so it is a no raid ever again, what would it be?
From Kefka or just any raid in particular?
From any raid.
Limit cut! Seraphim, you're actually kind of real for that. I was gonna say Devour from P5S, but you know what? I like Limit Cut. I'm gonna change my answer to that.
Conceptually, or like an actual mechanic?
Like an actual mechanic.
Ordained Stillness can go straight to hell.
True, actually. Fuck Ordained Stillness.
Not pause mechanics, not stop attacking mechanics, specifically Ordained Stillness, because Ordained Stillness locks in before the fucking cast bar finishes.
It does, I forgot about that.
From a blind
And I
prog
saw so
perspective,
many fucking wipes to that because of that.
I mean, from a blind prog perspective, I remember during top, finding out how he was shield bashing was really frustrating. Like, if you've ever done top, you know that he jumps to one of the two closest people to do the shield bash, but it's not how that ever worked originally. At least I'm pretty sure it's not. And so no one, at least in my circle, knew what was going on there. And like only through trial and error and repeated trial and error did we ever find out, like, oh, that's how he's choosing who he's targeting during the shield bash.
How does he choose who he targets?
So two closest people within a certain range.
Oh,
It's not enmity. It's the shield bash from male Omega M is it's like two people in a specific range around him, and if you don't have two people, he'll just randomly dash to somebody. So it's really doing that in blind prog and trying to figure that out was really annoying.
Sucks.
It's not like, it wasn't. It was kind of like an unexciting thing to pursue. Like Codex was fun.
Yeah.
Kind of. It was annoying, but it was also like, it was like very euphoric to find it. Like finding out how he was targeting for shield bash was just like, okay, I think we've got it. Okay, it looks like it's working, and then you're just like, okay, cool. Like it was frustrating. Yeah, it was just really frustrating because it was like you get to P5. Because in P2 you're kind of like spread out, so it doesn't really matter. And you don't really think about it. But in P5 and top, it's like, okay, you need to know how it's targeting because he's dashing to people that absolutely cannot get dashed to. So you're just trying to figure out what's going on there. It's very annoying. So that sucked. That was definitely the worst.
Also, the auto in top before they fixed it. That fucking auto in phase 3.
Oh yeah, where it would start autoing before like the phase transition.
It was either before Hello World or like when he came back for phase 4. They hadn't coded it yet so that like he would wait a GCD before auto attacking. So Final Omega might just spawn, immediately look at a healer and hit him with one auto, which is usually a one shot.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have tanks either like spamming tab provoke, or like doing the ARR Black Mage thing of standing in one location, spamming your AoE, hoping to hit it as it's spawning.
Yeah. I do remember hearing about this during Top Prog, and everyone was like, what the fuck is going on?
Top prog sounds difficult. I think I should probably pass. Okay.
I think we're about ready to start wrapping up.
Yeah. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so
it was
much.
a pleasure talking to you.
And it was fun. Thanks
I'm so glad.
I'm glad. I learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also am just like, oh man, I can learn mechanics.
It was a lot of fun at FanFest. Just like hang out with Brian, Gabby, a bunch of their friends, and just people just talking Ultimates mechanics and all this shit. Like interspersely between conversations about Toho and other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was a very fun
Toho?
time.
Toho.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like I think I talked about this on the last one, but Brian did a very big solid for us, and when we were going to do P4 and we just had tanks like repeatedly leave, he was like, hey, I'll tank for you guys. I'm like, we're literally getting the guy who world firsted this fight to help us out. Raided with us on his birthday. Like, we held up the fucking cake for about 20 minutes until I had to literally go to all my friends and be like, guys, Brian's giving up his fucking birthday to help us clear this before tonight. Lock in.
That's so sweet.
Lock in. Aww. So as a thank you, I had because we were talking about the Toho Izakaya game that had like just come out. That's a lot of fun. So I went to Brian's fiance. I'm like, hey Gabby, can you find out for me what Brian's 2 favorite Tohos are? And I got our friend to do art of them at an Izakaya together.
Oh, that's like so cute.
I really appreciate that. I really liked it. So I was like, that was a nice surprise. So I appreciate that a lot.
Aw.
Thanks.
We also, while hanging out at MagFest, I felt so bad for them because the tier dropped 2 days before MagFest.
Wait, which
and
tier?
Poor Brian, heavyweight.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So poor Brian was raiding, like, as MagFest is going on, they're trying to get their group through Idyllic Dream, and then, like, immediately raced out at, like, 2 a.m. from upstate New York. I'm like, please don't die.
Yeah, I did
Oh,
that to
gosh.
myself.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
I did that
We
to
just
myself.
talked about making sure everyone was rested.
Well, that's dedication. I
that's true.
understood the, like, you had 7 other people who were, like, giving up their time, took PTO to do this.
Yeah.
You didn't want to
Mhm.
stiff them, which is admirable.
True.
Yeah. Well, I also really, Gabby is behind me saying like, "Yo, hurry up." We need to get to MagFest. I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, no
The Florida men are
worries.
playing right
Oh,
now.
man.
I was like gonna leave right away, and like my group was like, "No, go take a nap first." So,
Oh gosh. Yeah. All right. Well, Loon, thank you again.
Oh yeah,
We
absolutely.
there was internet issues on my end, but Eorzea Monthly will continue.
We only had
Some
one
way,
crash
somehow.
on my end. So weird.
And it happened
Honestly,
before
this is
stream,
great.
fine.
And it happened before stream started, so we're good.
Good.
This is the best time for it to happen. There are so many VODs that I have to edit specifically because it crashes like right in the middle. It's great.
Oof, I feel you.
It happens all the
but
time,
I
don't
think
worry.
Our next Eorzea Monthly will be going back to ARR.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We'll be talking
Yeah.
about A Realm Reborn.
And why
And
you
I'm
should.
gonna-
Anyone who tells you to skip ARR, they're cowards. Don't listen to them do ARR.
I will fight you. I will fight you. Brian, what's your stance? Do you skip ARR or do you play ARR?
For a first time playthrough.
what do you
First
value?
timer.
Is basically the question there. Do
Yeah.
you just want to? Do you want to play the game to raid, or do you want to experience the story? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Right?
Yeah.
But that's just my POV as someone who rated. I skipped the story for years, so I mean, and then I went back and read it after.
Mhm.
Kind of, I think, I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You want to get to rating, you skip it, and then go back to it if you find the game fun. That's
You
just
know,
how I looked at it.
It's a very nuanced take, and I fuck with it.
I like it. Yeah.
But I don't blame people who are like, no. I get it.
Yeah.
Is there anything anyone wants to promote or plug?
I don't really have anything other than I have streams coming up all this week. I have other stuff coming up that I'm not going to talk about just yet, but there's a bunch of fun stuff down the way, so check my socials for that. We are in the midst of setting up a Discord server for all of this, so if you do like Eorzea Monthly and want us to, keep doing that, we do really love the support that everyone gives.
I made it in 25 minutes.
You did make it in 25 minutes before we forced you to go to bed.
Here,
It's
we'll
not
drop
done
a
yet.
link to the server.
Oh!
It's not done yet, but we can still invite people in.
Yeah, we can
Or-
invite people in. Once it's done, I'll have a link to it in my Twitch bio.
Yeah, we will
Mhm.
have a link to it, I think. But,
Yeah.
it's been a wonderful project that is kind of taken root now between the three of us.
Yeah.
I love yapping, so.
I guess.
It's been so fun.
Already finished. I know.
I'm trying to.
Fun. Thank you for bringing me up.
Okay.
Oh my god! Of course.
I think
I'm looking
once
for...
my internet gets back up and running.
I will
Yeah,
plug
no.
because I want people to check it out.
Oh yeah. Brian, anything you want to promote? I'm gonna have you promote your things and.
No, I'm good. Play the game if you get into
Check out
hardcore
Brian.
rating if you want to do that. You get into,
and if anyone
don't let
has any
hardcore rating
questions,
scare you.
if anyone has any questions about getting into it or trying out what hit any of us up.
Yeah.
Like, we will answer questions any questions.
I will connect you to the right people.
I want people to, like, you can do it. Don't let fear of like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough. You can. The only thing you need to clear any content in this game is time and drive. If you have those things,
yep.
You know, what do they call the guy who cleared UCOB with 7 deaths and 10 mistakes?
Charity?
The legend.
Oh.
What?
Oh, sorry.
Someone like that?
It's an inside. It's an yeah. I think they were talking about my comment of Charity. Sorry, that was an inside joke between an FC of mine.
Gotcha. Speaking of Charity,
we did have someone clear like that. Sorry.
Speaking of Charity, check out GG Tribune. This upcoming Friday is going to be holding their Bigger, Gayer, and Woke stream too, where they'll be playing a bunch of indie games and raising money for, I believe, Trans Lifeline, but if not, other prominent LGBTQ causes. I will not be on it, but I am helping them out with some behind the scenes prep stuff for it. So definitely check that out.
Yay! Yay!
Oh yeah.
Do you have a link to drop? Anything of the sort?
I do not, unfortunately. They still, I think they're still making the Tiltify page for it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right, so keep an eye on Tom's socials.
Yep.
And yeah, I think until I get my internet up and running, unfortunately my lore play is on hold.
Oh no.
Sadly. So I don't get to break down the entire lore and history of Eorzea just yet, which is fine. It's fine. It's okay. I'm too powerful for them. I mean, that's just all we're gonna chalk it up to.
True.
I'm too powerful. Otherwise, I think I've been asked. I think my friend's been asking me to like go back to making drinks again. So I may be making a couple more drinks. Although the Eorzea Cafe does a pretty good job of it. I don't even know I have to do anything. But yeah, stay up to date on socials. I'll be doing more fun story breakdowns amongst all my games. Currently Nier and Nikkei and Final Fantasy XIV. Hopefully we'll be able to get some movement going, but
I believe in you.
I know. Yeah. Brian, do you want to show off your weapon? Because it's
yeah.
Been... I mean, if people want to see it.
Yeah, pop it.
Yeah, stand on the table.
Just jump on the table and show the weapon.
Show it off.
The cruel legend.
There you go.
Wait.
And if you want to see the paladin one, it looks like this.
Oh wait, hang on. I have to NG pose. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. I was like,
Oh god.
If you hit screen lock outside of G pose, it hides everything. By the way.
So cool.
That's.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's what I was like. You asked me what button it was, and I was like, screen lock.
Oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, that weapon is sick.
I love them.
That weapon
I really
is so
love the
cool.
Celestriad elements in the
really
red and green running up it. Yeah.
The initial pictures of the weapons did not do them justice. They looked terrible in the pictures.
No,
they look way better in game with the glow and everything reflecting off the environment.
They look so
I know people who complain about the hair. I like the hair.
I like the hair.
It just looked really bad in the initial pictures. Like once people got into the game and equipped them, they're like, oh, these actually look fine.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of the Final Fantasy community sometimes, where they're just like, "Oh my god, it looks terrible." I'm just like, wait, just wait until like you get
Wait until you can see it in game.
Yeah, they're just reactionary. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at it in a Datamined like gray box. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah, I think they take their pictures in the burn if we're talking about the same person.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to people. I just pay attention to the picture, and I'm just like, can we please see it moving?
Can we have some colors?
Can we?
That's
I'm
one
gonna
thing
wait
I
until
hope.
I
I
see
hope
it
this
in
game
front
gets
of
more
me.
color at some point.
So people use
I mean,
reshade for so long.
That's what
I
what I've
know.
got.
I know.
It used to be
No one
such
is.
a pain in the ass to install too.
It's so easy
Yeah.
now. It's so nice.
Now it is really easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, I
Alright.
think
Now-
that's all the time we have today. I'm still searching for someone to raid if anyone has any ideas.
I
Mimi?
got
Yeah, I was looking. I
Uh,
did see Vivimi was
Mimi
was
is
they
available.
might have end. Oh yeah, no, they're still going. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing Pilgrim.
Sauce of the Roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sauce of the Roll has been doing Kefka, I think,
Mhm.
right now.
I know
helping.
Stardiver is also doing Kefka.
So we got quite a few people who I think are free and available.
Yeah, let's do
Juan is
Vivimi
on.
then.
Yeah, let's
Their
do Mimi.
animations are incredibly cute, and they made
The
some very
Primals-
adorable guides. Yeah,
The Primal
Yeah.
guide.
Tier guide was so cute.
It was so cute. I just wish we had more songs. Again, it goes back to like
Yeah,
FanFest experience for the Primals. Like it was good. It could have been better.
Mhm.
That set list could have been better. I'm so sorry, NA. You got cheated out of Gun singing "Be My Honey."
I know. We always get cheated
Yeah.
out of
So
that.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
One
That's my
day.
only apology to NA.
One day. It's okay. We got world's
Okay.
first Ride the Rhythm like intelligible lyrics.
I will
had,
say,
we had Dancing Green buying us all drinks at the fucking bar. I think we win.
Woo.
I will say, NA finally pulled off a
A good
decent
fan
time
fest?
stop. A decent time
Yep.
stop.
Oh, true.
They learned
I still think
after years
about
of shade.
I still think about the cameraman who pointed directly at the person's phone that was recording.
Yep. Put them on fucking blast.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Alrighty.
have a good day, everyone, or good evening, everyone. I should say it's
Have
a
a
good
great-
morning for me.
Have
Yeah.
a great rest of your night. We're gonna go
Have a
raid
great
Vimimi now.
Bye.
Bye.
Do we have a special? Do we have a raid message for
We-
Mimi?
Oh God, we don't. What do people want to do the raid message?
YOU.
What? Just you?
We're rating you, of course. YOU.
Oh.
True. All right. There we go. All
Oh,
right.
wait, it is dots.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Seraphim. All right. Let's do
Perfect.
the raid. Thank you guys so much. Have a great time over there.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye. And raid. And stop streaming. And end stream. Yay!
Very good.